is Isaiah Cassidy. I'm Mark Lynn, and we're Private Party.
And you're listening to the All Elite Podcast.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the All Elite Podcast right here on the No Holds Bar Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host, as always, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, and I'm always joined on this podcast by my co-host. She is the indie queen, the executive vice president of Giggles of this podcast, Tiffany, and if you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast, you can see that we are joined by a third co-host today, and that is Kenny from Your Thoughts. What's going on, Kenny? And while you are talking and giving yourself an intro, I'm just going to switch your cameras around because I just realized that the Twitter handles are on the wrong sides.
That's okay. I've always been jealous of Tiff's Twitter anyway. She gets a lot more DMs than I do, so, maybe if we switch handles, I'll have a better success rate.
Yeah,
but then again, those guys are pretty creepy. I don't know.
She loves the creepers. She loves them. Deep down, Tiff, I know you do.
They had shirts on tonight on AEW, and it really irritated me. It really did. I like me some shirtless creepers.
Yeah, it wasn't the same there. I fixed YouTube for us. But we're going to want to thank Kenny for joining us here on the Full Gear Predictions episode of this podcast. So thank you, Kenny, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. This has been a long time coming. I'm really excited. I don't know if you all can tell. But again, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Awesome. Here talking.
We could do the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega right now.
Oh my God.
Oh, we can. Yeah.
Which way do I go? Am I the wrong way?
I think I go this way. Oh wait, I gotta go this way. Yeah. I don't know. We kind of did it. Everyone's gonna make fun of us, but that's okay.
Well, I can't see the camera right now, so I don't know if I went the wrong way or not.
That's all right. I'm sure everyone can give us credit for at least doing something. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Full Gear Predictions right here on the All Elite Podcast. Yes, we're going to be going and recapping Dynamite tonight as well, because damn, was that ever a good go-home show. That was probably...
Absolutely.
And it was probably AEW's best show so far, I'm going to say. I'm going to put that out there.
It might have been. And I definitely... I think it was 2 weeks ago. I was kind of scorned on Dynamite. I thought it was their worst episode. So this episode was definitely a breath of fresh air, especially the ending, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a lot to take in. But yeah, we're gonna go over Dynamite tonight. Then we'll get into the predictions after, so that'll end off the episode. But guys, if you don't know who Kenny is over there, he runs his own podcast. So you got his Twitter handle right above his head there, so you can go follow him. Make sure you go follow him and subscribe to them on YouTube as well, as we are actually in our YouTube competition. I know we had the kind of like the head start, like we had the Usain Bolt head start in that competition, and we made it to 1K first, but help them still get to 1K as well, and subscribe to Kenny for Your Thoughts podcast on YouTube. I'll leave the link down in the description after this is done as well. So
thank you guys. Thank you.
You'll get there, Kenny.
Our podcast is all right, I guess. We have a co-host who's not as good as Tiff, but still.
Oh, boo! I'm gonna show some love to Brandon. Brandon, I know you're watching. You're gonna rewatch this. Give love to you, man.
Listen, when you start
I love Brandon.
The Street Profits, the Private Party, we have a problem.
Ooh,
okay?
Yeah, you kind of struck a nerve there with Tiff.
Tiff, do you want to explain for your listeners who may not know?
There's nothing to explain. He just said that Street Profits are, like Private Party. No, I can't.
And can I explain that Brandon is black for anyone who doesn't know? So it's even more offensive that he would call the Street Profits and Private Party the same gimmick, quote unquote. It offends me. It's ridiculous. But all jokes aside, Brandon is a great co-host. Really super talented, and I always appreciate him being on the podcast, even though our dynamic is for me to poke him a little bit. But yeah, definitely.
I mean, I definitely appreciate having a co-host, especially like Tiff. Tiff's been amazing. She's definitely been one of the best people I've chosen so far for this AEW co-host. I mean, the list was so long. I just had to go through a long.
Go there, because in reality, I brought this to you.
Yeah, she did.
So
she brought the idea to me because I was at the time that she brought it to me. I had some knowledge about what was going on. This is a little bit after All Out and how the announcements are coming out that they're starting AEW and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, I had the same thoughts as some people still do today. I'm like, oh, it's probably going to be like another Impact, and it's just going to be this small company. It's going to be on some random TV station no one's ever heard of before, right. And then Tiff just like she got me into it. She built it up and she got me hyped for it. I'm like, okay, I trust you. Let's start a podcast. Let's do it. It's going to be big. And then so far it's been pretty good. I've really enjoyed the work that they've put out, and
she was right.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been some really good stuff.
It's crazy. Just everything. It's just crazy because especially that we talk about the fact that since, you know, living here in New York and having the privilege of seeing a bunch of indie scenes, and a lot of these wrestlers are from the indie scene. So that and following the Elite itself, it's just amazing. But hey, I'm excited for this weekend.
I know, Full Gear this weekend. Myself and Tiff will be down in Baltimore for this weekend, guys. So if you're going, look out for myself and Tiff. I'll probably be wearing this sweater mostly all weekends. It's going to be damn cold in Baltimore this weekend. I checked the weather. I'm like, oh, God. But for sure, I'll be wearing the sweater. I'll be wearing the AEP shirt that I have. I'm going to bring one of the D's Wolves shirts. So actually, shout outs to them, D's Wolves, for making the official theme song for this podcast, Dead to Me, guys. The links are down in the description for you guys to check out. Awesome band. Go follow them on Spotify, their YouTube channel. Awesome stuff. We hooked up with them with our t-shirt store as well, which I'll get into later. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time here. Let's talk about Dynamite tonight. And God, it was, pun intended, explosive. I can put it in terms of, you know, Dynamite.
I see what you did there.
See, Kenny seen that.
This has been the best go-home show that I've seen in a while. This is how you build stories, and this is how you get excited for a pay-per-view. I think I knew we were going this weekend. I wasn't really as hyped, and after this episode, I got insanely hyped. So
yeah, I did too. It was a sweet go-home show, and I know it's a lot of reactionary chatter on Twitter. Everyone's like, oh, well, this is how you book a go-home show. Every other company should take notes. And I don't think I'd go that far myself, but it was a pretty good go-home show. Like this definitely got you hyped for Full Gear. It did its job. So good for them in producing that type of TV show. It was even announced before. It even got you hyped for tonight's show, because before they announced that Private Party and Dark Order are going to face each other, and the winner is going to face off in a triple threat tag team match with SCU and Lucha Bros at Full Gear. So you're like, damn, okay, so we're going to get to see their basically AEW's major championship. I find their tag team titles are their major title. That's going to be their bread and butter, because that's what they're focusing on, is tag team wrestling in AEW.
It's what makes them stand out, because other promotions don't do tag team wrestling as good as AEW. No. And that's their strong point, easily.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I mean with Private Party, with that match, like you said, the hype going into that match, I was like, I'm not missing Dynamite. And it delivered. I think it delivered.
And there was a lot of hype too behind Cody's announcement. Was he even going to get it off? Because we saw what happened last time with the whole the whole inner circle in their quote unquote suite, because Twitter in their craziness, someone was able to enhance the ticket that Jericho was holding. He wasn't even supposed to be in the suite. He's supposed to be in section 124, whatever that was.
Did that really happen? Somebody enhanced that ticket.
Someone literally zoomed in all the way, enhanced it so that they can see the section number, and it said 124. And they're like, and they tweeted at AEW. You're like, well, AEW, we're gonna have to solve this case. Jericho wasn't even supposed to be in the suite, and then I think AEW retweeted it and says, okay, we need someone to get on this case. And I think Amy tweeted, and she got retweeted by them. It was nuts. I was dying that day.
What a heel. What a heel. He wasn't even supposed to be in the suite. He stole some poor kid's ticket in section 124 and it went up in the suite.
It was probably the same guy, the crutch he stole. There's that random person that was standing there, and he stole the crutch. And I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't think that guy was I don't think that guy was placed there. I think that legitimately was a fan in crutches, and he was just, the wrong place, the wrong time, and they improvised. They stole his crutch. They probably gave him some free merch after.
I sure hope so. I hope so. I would like to think that, because Jericho is such a heel that he would steal a handicap fan's crutch and use it against his opponent.
Right.
Like, that's amazing.
And if it breaks, man, that guy's screwed. He's out of a crutch right there.
Right.
I'm sure they have stuff in the back.
So we open off the show with Pac and Trent Beretta, 1-on-1. Pac's overall record 2-1-1 going into this match. Trent Beretta of an overall record of 3-4. So again, all these matches tonight were, except for the main event, were 15-minute time limits. I love that. I love the whole time limit thing with AEW. I love that they do that.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Like the New Japan.
Yeah, the New Japan style. I love that they bring that into it.
I love the fact that we're getting single matches with people that are actually in tag teams. So we get to see the strength of one actual member of the tag team, which is amazing.
And
so,
very true. I didn't even think about that.
We need a new shirt, guys. We need a best friend shirt with Orange
Cassidy. Yeah, I'm sure that's in the works. But Best Friends, speaking of, got a massive reaction tonight. Oh my God. That's probably been the loudest one. And I know it got louder when Orange Cassidy first got shown on the stage and everyone exploded. Yep. The guy is very, very over in AEW. It's a very good match. I love the opening contest. I love Pac. Pac's an amazing wrestler. Trent Beretta also showing how good he is and how he can keep up with Pac, which I think that was the main point here, as he kept up with an exceptional wrestler like Pac in this match. I love the whole Orange Cassidy spot. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but the whole spot with Pac, and then Pac was able to pretty much end that. And I love how he plays to the crowd. He's the perfect heel, Pac. I love when he gets that heel reaction, he soaks it in. He gets the crowd going more and more and more, and that's what makes a good heel. And for the most part, it was a good match.
Can we talk about Orange Cassidy in that sense? Because I see all over Twitter everyone saying, the Jim Cornette fans of the world are basically saying, I don't like Orange Cassidy. He's killing the business and stuff. And like, I get it, guys. I'm kind of a purist when it comes to the business too, in that sense. When he was on the indies and he was doing the little kicks and people were like flinching and selling, like it does expose the business a little bit, kind of in the same vein, no pun intended, of Joey Ryan. Mm-hmm. But if you notice the intricacy, the genius in AEW is that no one has sold any of his offense.
That's right.
Literally every time he's done the kicks, they look at him like, "What the hell are you doing, dude?" they have a confused look on their face, kind of, kind of like Tiff does when someone slides in her DMs, like that look, So, so and just like Tiff,
facts,
no one sells it. No one, they don't sell the offense. So that's the difference between Orange Cassidy on the indies and AEW on a national platform. I think no one gives them credit for that. He's got a fun character, but they make sure to protect the roster when it comes to his character.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But this is what I've been a big follower of Orange Cassidy in the indie scenes, and I don't know. This is why I'm always preaching about the independence in the wrestling world, that it's very different, and you really do have to keep an open mind. You cannot have the mind, and here I was, who was only following WWE for like the longest, and then I went to start seeing independent shows. You have to have that open mind to sell like Orange Cassidy. Same thing, Joey Janela, and I talked about this the last episode, versus the Invisible Man. If the crowd isn't going to sell it either, it's not going to work. And I think Orange Cassidy is so over in AEW, it works. But this is his character. And like I said even before, when he can go, he can really wrestle.
I was just going to say, Tiff knows firsthand that he can wrestle. So I'm sure eventually we're going to, and it's going to be this big spectacle too. I'm sure they're saving this for like the right moment, and it's going to be a very, very big moment for when he first actually wrestles in AEW. So, again, this match with the whole spot with Orange Cassidy, amazing. Lots of cool looking spots as well. There's the one instance at the end was very, I guess we can say botchy. It was very confusing. Pac was able to hit the black arrow. It looked like it was supposed to be it, and the ref kind of stopped for whatever reason. I didn't see an arm go up.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, did they forget maybe that was supposed to be the ending or wasn't supposed to be? It was a lot of confusion, and then I just loved how they transitioned it very quickly. There was less, like, it's good, and it shows you how that these guys are professional athletes when they can transition it very, very quickly off a botch. And Pac got pissed. He did the whole pissed off at the referee thing and was able to hit in the transition into the brutalizer, lock it in, Trent out cold. That's how we ended the match, but a very, very ugly finish.
Yeah, and I think like you said, they transitioned out of it so quick and so like to the point where the crowd didn't really have time to react to the botch, which is a good thing. You don't want them chanting "You fucked up" live on TV, on that national platform. So I mean, they did a good job covering it up.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And Pac's little promo was great.
Then he cut a very angry promo
Always.
on that also took away from it too. I think that also made you forget about what that crappy that ending was, and it was it was straight to the point kind of promo by Pac, and I think the crowd was very good for this match. They're very into it, and it's a very good opener to Dynamite this week. And I know we got the lead into Pac versus Hangman, a very, very heated matchup going into Full Gear. So I can't wait for that to happen. And then this wasn't over. We had Pac have something to do with Hangman later on in the night, which we'll get to. But we'll get into the Cody announcement, and this was. I thought this would be later in the show. I was surprised to have it so early, but him being the hometown guy, I can see why they placed it here to keep the crowd fired and keep the crowd going for the rest of the night. Crowd was so behind Cody, obviously in his hometown kid coming home. I saw that sign that kept showing, this is Rhodes country. He's in the ring with Tony Schiavone. They talk about
You keep calling him Shivani. It's Siobhan.
I like saying Schiavone. I think someone said Schiavone on AEW once, and I'm just like, I love the way that sounds. Like
it is Tony Schiavone,
right? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Tony.
I think Tiff's thinking of how Jericho said it wrong last week in the contract.
Jericho said Schiavone or something
Schiavone,
like that.
Yeah, Tiff.
As someone who's seen Tony Schiavone since I was born, I can promise you it's Tony Schiavone.
Thank you. I was confused for a second.
I got your back, Kyle. I got your back.
They're like, you're saying it wrong. And I'm like...
That's because they probably heard Jericho say it and they automatically thought that was right.
Well, remember, Jericho's gimmick is that he always mispronounces people's names.
He calls Jack Hager Jack Hagar.
Right.
It's like Rihu.
Rihu. That's how we say her name here.
So we kind of say her name weird on our podcast too. So Brandon just mispronounces everybody's name. I don't know if that's a gimmick.
Well, we have a gimmick here now. Is whenever we have to transition and talk about something else, we get off topic. We go, well, anywho, Rihu.
I love it.
So anywho, Rihu, we'll talk about this segment here and how Cody started talking about the inner circle and he comparing it and saying he loves that it's competition for the elite and how both of them are in the ring and both of them are in AEW, and basically that's what they were looking for, was someone to step up to the elite, and he knows how much of an elite group the inner circle is. Talks about Full Gear on Saturday versus Jericho, the AEW championship, and how big of a match it's going to be. He starts name dropping legends at one point, and I want to bring up when he dropped Dusty Rhodes, and man, you can tell right away with just an instant that he started getting choked up, and it must be very hard for Cody to talk about Dusty at any point, man. Like this is it's gonna come up a lot in this company as well, especially with the Rhodes name. Like I felt for him. I could feel myself even getting a little bit choked up with him, and oh man, the legends he was dropping there. There was one point actually later on. It has something to do with this that they mentioned something to do with Jerry Lynn. Something going on with Jerry Lynn. I remember hearing the commentators in the main event saying that they hope Jerry Lynn gets better and he'll join us back soon. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I think he's.
No, I didn't even hear that.
I think he's a backstage guy, but they mentioned it very quick in the main event. I'm like, oh, okay. Hopefully he's nothing bad. Anyways, back to the promo here. He goes on and talks about how proud of AEW, and then he starts building up AEW and calls it that AEW is freedom for wrestling and is freedom for wrestlers, and the crowd's so hot behind this, and he just keeps boosting it up. And he gets to the big announcement, and man, so we got to talk about this. So the big announcement is that if he doesn't defeat Jericho on Saturday for Full Gear, he will never challenge for the AEW Championship again. Okay.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That still doesn't affect my decision. It just makes it even more confused of a decision to pick.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people were going with Jericho, and I think a lot of people are probably going to be changing their predictions.
Like, I don't know. That's so... I don't know
but
if they're
that's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Is like now it added now listen to all of us. We're like, well, Jericho was going to win on Saturday. Now we're kind of like, well, does he win now? Because where do they go if Cody Rhodes can't challenge for the title after Saturday?
I can't see them being that company to go back on that. Like, unless they did a storyline where there was a certain champion, like maybe an MJF eventually in the future, that would antagonize Cody to the point where they brought in like a Tony Khan in the storyline that, you know, kind of overturned the decision. But again, a lot of people would hate that and would shit on that, and I understand. I don't know.
Or they could do a twist with the wins and losses, that it's like a reboot of like the new year, so new wins, new losses.
Are they doing that though?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, you know, maybe that's the way to get around it. But like, oh well, that was.
You'd have to do it for everyone else. That's a big decision.
And around it is the problem. There is like everyone would, especially with the fan base that AEW has. It's like to get around something. I think like Kyle said, like people would just crap on that like completely. But can we talk about the line that Cody Rhodes said in there, which verbatim was this isn't about my dad. It's about my life. The 14 years it took me to go from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. And when he said that line, I mean, I'm just sitting on my couch watching AEW, and I jumped out of my seat. I was just so into that.
I was feeling it too.
Promo.
Yeah, I was feeling it.
And I'm a grown-ass man, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, like, and for a second, I forgot that wrestling's not real, you know. And Cody Rhodes, to his credit, his promos bring that emotion out in people. There's a guy who is definitely the face of AEW, and for a reason, because the fans buy into him. Which goes back into let's bring this back around. Which goes back into if he can't challenge for the title if he loses on Saturday. That's a big deal because I feel like you lose a lot of the fan base there.
And it's like you just said, like he's the face of the company. I see people all the time be like, oh, his entrance is way too over the top. I'm like, yeah, because he's the number one guy. Why don't anyone?
One of those people.
So Roman Reigns is the top guy in WWE. The guy has like the most unbelievable entrance everywhere he goes in pay-per-views, but no one says shit about that.
That's not true. They didn't even have Pyro up until like 3 weeks ago.
True. But now they have
Plus, Roman Reigns just comes out. He just cocks his fist and then just punches the ground. That's about it.
And then there's fireworks everywhere. There's fireworks that come out of another building down the road that has nothing to do with the building.
It's true. Fireworks shoot out of my ass on the couch when Roman Reigns.
There you go.
It's weird. But no, I've actually been I've been one of those people that are kind of critical of Cody Rhodes' entrance. The one specifically was when he came out to do the promo where Jericho was supposed to be in section 137, but he stole some fan suite. That promo, when it was like, why did he come out with the whole elaborate entrance? I feel like it took away from it. And then I think, was that the same episode that the tag team titles were decided?
Yes.
So they didn't get any entrance, if you remember that. They just started the match right away, so it almost irritated me because right, exactly. I was like, Cody could have had one entrance where he just walks out and then give these guys who are making history entrances. So again, I'm trying to come from an unbiased place now. Tonight, same thing. I kind of felt like, why did he have an elaborate entrance? But then after all was said and done, it kind of helped because he did make a point of like, I'm, the it guy here. I'm perceived a certain way. It kind of added to his promo.
Now, those are his normal entrances. I can only imagine what Full Gear is going to be like on Saturday.
Especially if he's going to win the title.
God, we saw All Out when he came out like Star Trek themed and everything. I'm like, damn, okay. Being a Star Wars fan, I didn't like that. Oh, yeah, God, oh my God, poor dog. Poor dog. I'm such a dog person. That really made me feel bad. But yeah, so stipulation now, if he doesn't beat Jericho, he can never face a challenge for the AEW title again. He brought up the whole thing in the beginning too with the management thing, and maybe I don't know if that's a sign of maybe the future. I don't know if I can't really see Cody stop wrestling for whatever reason. The guy's got a lot in him still. I love the part where he made fun of Jericho's book. That was hilarious, saying that
the
$3 on Amazon. I wonder if anyone's gone and confirmed. I've been looking on Twitter for someone to screenshot. Okay, is it true?
I didn't see it at $3, but I did confirm that it is on there used pretty cheap.
Okay.
A Lion's Tale, if you all want to search that yourself.
Already read it. Don't need to.
Me too.
Yeah. Good book. Any one of Jericho's books are really good. I loved all his books.
Which is weird, by the way, because I am charging this e-reader because I realized after Cody said that I had not finished his last book that I was in the middle of. I don't remember. It was like something is a 4-letter word. I didn't finish it. So guess what I'm going to do after this podcast?
And what was the company of that e-reader?
That was Sony. Sony. I used to work for Sony like 7 years ago. So yes, e-readers don't exist really, or they're not really popular, ladies and gentlemen. But the reason I have it is so that I don't have to stare at the LCD screen.
Well, there you go. So guys, Sony e-readers, get yours today. Sony e-readers, sponsor us maybe in the future. So cheap little plug.
If they're not out of business by then.
They're not out of business. Tiff, don't shake your head at me. You know what I try to do on this podcast. Okay, tried it with Tim Hortons already. We've tried it with other things. It might work one day.
Oh, some Timbits. I haven't had Timbits in years.
There you go. Maybe one day we'll get, a sponsorship for free Timbits and we'll send some to Kenny. There you go.
Thank you, please.
So,
anywho,
yes, thank you. He brings up the part where he says that Jericho, he's not Jericho who uses this generation of wrestling and wrestlers to survive and stay relevant. And he mentions, he surrounds himself with all these young people in the inner circle. Again, it's just a very intense rest of the promo, and I'm sure it's going to be an insane match on Saturday. And I'm looking forward to seeing how elaborate his entrance is on Saturday. That's going to be what I'm looking forward to for sure. Screw the match.
You won't be able to see the match. I was going to say, you won't be able to see the match. There'll be so much pyro and so much smog in the arena.
They're going to have to cut open a hole in the roof.
They're like, I think Cody just won the title, but I'm not too sure.
Sets the fire alarms off. So we moved on to the announced match literally right before the show, and that was Private Party, our boys, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn versus the Dark Order. Private Party going to this match on a 2-4 record. Yikes! And Dark Order at 3-1. SU was on commentary for the English side. The Lucha Bros were on Spanish commentary with Dasha Gonzalez. Sorry. Dasha Fuentes.
That's her slave name. Do not say her slave name. She's
apologize.
free. This is
free.
Ellis Island.
This is freedom,
remember?
yes.
As Cody Rhodes said.
So the Lucha Bros are on Spanish commentary, which is pretty cool. One thing I want to point out of this match, not the Creepers with their long sleeves this week, but Stu Grayson of the Dark Order. Love him. I absolutely love Stu Grayson. The guy is an insane wrestler. I've been watching him very closely in the Dark Order. I love his in-ring work. He's so good. He's so clean. He's smooth. No matter who's in the ring he's with, he's putting up a good match, and I think he's an exceptional talent of the Dark Order. If they ever were to split up, I can see Grayson being a pretty sweet singles competitor. So I have high hopes for him.
Can we talk about Evil Uno having a shirt for the first time in AEW history?
That was weird.
I thought that was welcomed. What I didn't like was the Creepers having shirts to follow suit. I think that was very controversial. I think Tiff's just laughing because I'm trying to make this a serious conversation about.
They follow his boss. They follow their boss.
Well, yeah, but
boss wears a shirt. They gotta wear a shirt.
Yeah, but I think they would establish a pecking order if they were shirtless and he had a shirt on. But I digress. All right.
Okay.
In all seriousness, was I the only one that was really sold on the Dark Order in this match? Like, I don't know why, but like for some reason it felt like they're getting better. Like something's getting better with their package. Before they kind of felt hokey. but tonight it felt like a serious match. And like you said, Stu Grayson's a star. I definitely noticed that he's the workhorse of the group.
Mm-hmm.
But Evil Uno even looked a little bit better here.
Yeah, he pulled off a one-winged
me.
angel, but then he transitioned it into like landing the guy's back on his knee. I'm like, because he was setting up for him. Like, oh my god, is he doing a one-winged angel right now? Like, what's he doing right now? And he hits it in transition into like a backbreaker. I'm like, damn. Okay. I see you, Uno. I see you.
But we said this as they're getting more TV time and being on weekly that they're gonna get better. No, so a lot of these indie stars, they haven't. What do they do? Like a lot of the shows, maybe they weren't doing weekly. Maybe they were doing once a month or so. You're getting your time and
or being on camera for that matter.
So you have, there's only one way. You got to get better. I
agree with Kenny though. I agree with like they seemed more like they had their shit together this week. And there was the one spot where like they were both on the outside and the creepers all surrounded them, and like that was like a perfect transition at that point. So.
Right. It almost felt like, okay, like before when I'd seen them, it almost felt like a gimmick, whereas this time it felt like, okay, I'm getting to see them because I believed in their gimmick a lot more because everything was so on point.
Yeah.
But talking about AEW just getting it all together, I mean, let's talk about the fact that like just their camera work is getting so much better. There's time periods where everybody, I mean, again, the end of the show where everyone's fighting, and the camera is keeping up with all of these guys. We talk about guys getting used to the camera. Darby Allin on the last pay-per-view when he had the skateboard full of thumbtacks.
Yep.
One, the cameraman missed that, and two, Darby Allin wasn't experienced enough to sell the fact that, hey, show this to the hard cam. There is a skateboard with thumbtacks on this. Now, though, I feel like these guys are finally noticing that, like, let's play to the camera and the people at home just as much as in the arena.
Right. So. And I noticed the sound was better this week, too. A lot of the commentary sound and the entrance music and just, like, the in-ring sound was a lot better this week. So it looks like they're getting working out the kinks out of that, too, and especially what Kenny just said with the camera work, it looks a lot better.
I was like, when did Kenny Omega say that? And then I realized you were talking about me.
As for the match, it was actually a pretty decent back and forth match. A lot of good spots. Dark Order tried to hit their finisher at one point near the end. Private Party were able to counter it and were able to hit their finisher. Tiff's favorite, the Gin and Juice. And they move on to Full Gear. So we have now, it's official, SCU, Lucha Brothers, Private Party, triple threat tag team match for the championship.
Let's freaking go. I'm bringing plugs for Kyle because it's going to be the Marty Skrull kind of thing, just so you know.
Hey, are you foreshadowing there or something there, Tiffany? Marty Skrull?
Yeah, whoa.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh.
I noticed he wasn't in that Ring of Honor group picture the other day.
Yeah, but neither was PCO. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Marty Skrull's contract's up this month.
Yeah, I know.
The question is when. So I will, if he shows
That's so weird because if he was staying, wouldn't he have already re-signed? Like, wouldn't they have extended him?
What's his face? Mike. Is it Taven? He's the one I mispronounced.
Yeah, Taven or Taven.
Taven. All right,
like that.
So he's the one. His contract expired, and then he re-signed it the next day. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so I don't think Marty Skrull's doing that. That's my disclaimer. But it's happened. Yeah, it's happened. Yeah, exactly.
They dropped the ball. I mean, we could keep going on about this on and on and on. They dropped the ball at G1 with Marty Skrull. They should have gave him the damn title. I'm sorry.
Ooh, yeah. That was a poor decision on Ring of Honor's part. Poor.
They're like, whatever.
Maybe that's going to be it. Maybe that was the decision maker for him coming up now. Maybe he'll make the jump to AEW and be like, well, guys, you should have gave me the title at the perfect moment when I should have had it. I did my work with Villain Enterprises. I did what I need to do up until the end of my contract. It's now done. PCO is getting a championship match. You can go with him. You know what I mean? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Taven becomes the leader of Villain Enterprises now. Maybe they do a big swerve. I don't know. I think he's AEW bound for sure. There's so much story with him and the Elite and how they keep featuring him and being the Elite with everything. It's just, I think there's so much more to tell.
It writes itself.
Yeah.
It's just inevitable, I feel like. So, but we shall see.
Your boys Private Party, though.
Party. Let's go.
Love it. They're really good. I love these guys. These guys, Jim Ross was giving him a lot of praise in this match, and he was even at one point, he said, like, what did he say? He's like, I don't even know if Private Party know how good they are and how promising they are. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of praise from Jim Ross.
Yeah, he was saying these 20-somethings and just how much talent that they had. Like, I was really, really surprised. Like, I think JR for the first time, not to say he's ever been bad in AEW, but again, I feel like a lot of people were on their A game on this episode. JR even, I didn't hear him miss a beat in this episode. Tony Schiavone, or Schiavone as Tiff calls him.
It's a New York accent, Schiavone.
Right. Excalibur didn't miss a beat. So, I mean, again, it's just something very complete about this AEW episode. It's almost like they've come full gear.
Ended. I was showing the guys before Isaiah's Instagram story. I was dying. He was in the hotel, like kind of like dancing with music. So I'm excited for them. I think, Kyle, did you get a chance to put the picture that I sent you, or no? Into OBS?
No.
Okay, so if anything, go on to Mark Quinn and Isaiah's Instagram stories. They posted pictures and stuff, so I'm so excited for them.
If it helps, I'll do it on screen now for you guys. You can look at mine. I know that probably sucks, but they're wearing their bronze medal there. There you go. There you go. A little preview.
I'm excited.
Yeah, they're good. They're very good. I'm so excited for their future, and they're really young, so they have such a big future ahead of them.
Isaiah's 23 and Quinn's 27. I saw Quinn the other day at a BWF, and I said to him, I always root for you. He goes, you better root for me. I was like, you can check the podcast. I always root for you guys. Like, don't give me crap.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Back to what Kenny was saying with JR on point. There's the one line he dropped in this match, and I was dying. I think it was Excalibur said, he yelled, he was like, oh, you're an Augie. And then JR goes, looks a lot like the Rock Bottom.
I missed that completely.
I was
Why would
dying.
he say that?
I was dying. I'm like, oh my god, JR.
Why would he say that? He was getting a little punchy and thought he was working for the WWF.
I'm like, that's vintage JR when he does those little jabs at stuff. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. He looks a lot like the Rock Bottom. Stop it.
That's awesome.
But then this is the best. So we had...
I was going to say my favorite part of the show is next, so please, let's get into it.
So Jericho's parody of Cody Rhodes' promos. If anyone remembers Cody Rhodes' promo where we're at, started with him and Brandy at the dinner table, and he got up and he wasn't paying attention to what Brandy was saying. They pulled off the same thing. In the beginning of the promo, it was Sammy Guevara talking to him about what kind of bubbly and saying like, well, this one's low calorie and this one's this, and he's just not. He's phasing it out.
He's just zoning out. Yeah.
And he kisses Guevara on the cheek.
Which that right there, as soon as he did that, I was like, this is gonna be gold.
Yeah.
Because they literally are parodying it down to that.
It was so good. It was so like we had Aunt's friend from church. I forget what her name was, but we had.
Let's call her Mildred for the sake
now.
of.
Someone in the chat will correct us, but.
Oh, actually, it's a Patricia Bobsky.
That's it.
That was the name.
Aunt's friend from church. We had Virgil there.
Virgil out of nowhere, Soul Train Jones, as he was known, talking about how Cody's been driven since he met him when he was 12 years old. Same thing like in the Cody promo. Ridiculous.
This was so good. And there was one where it was supposed to be, I think, Cody in like a spa or somewhere, and then Jericho was in his bathtub, and it was like the tiniest bathtub I've ever seen in my entire life.
He didn't even fit in the bathtub properly, and Jericho's all of like what 5'10" tops, and he's in this little tiny bathtub, and he's just looking like he's in the zone, and he's got a little bit of the bubble, a little bit of the bubbly.
He mentions it the one part, and I'm like, oh my god, this is probably the best promo ever. And he literally just it was all a big parody of Cody's promo from before, and
when they cut to Jake Hager, and then
he doesn't say anything.
Right, he doesn't say a goddamn thing. Jake Hager just staring into the camera menacingly.
I was waiting too. They showed him about 3 or 4 times. By the 4th time, I'm like, look at the screen, going, oh, is he gonna say something? No, he doesn't.
I love it though.
Oh man, and it's like, okay, this. If it had been done wrong, could have taken away from an otherwise good championship match. But
Right.
because of genius of Chris Jericho and AEW, it was done in such a way to basically say, without saying it, Cody Rhodes is taking this match so seriously, whereas Chris Jericho is basically not taking Cody Rhodes seriously at all.
That does not smell good for Jericho, man. He's
Right.
gotta get into it here, and I'm shocked. I mean, we saw a little bit more intensity, a little bit besides the promo out of Jericho this week, but man, he's going in too cocky. He's going in way too cocky into this match. And it's almost like it's exactly how Cody's looking in our layout here with his fingers crossed. Like he's waiting, he's biding his time, and he's just gonna wait for that one slip up by cocky Jericho, and he could steal it and snatch the title away. And if I don't know what the outcome and what the reaction is gonna be if Jericho loses the championship to Cody Rhodes. Like I don't like that it's this early if this happens. I feel like Jericho needs to hold on to that championship for a long time.
I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of scared of what the reaction might be. I mean, I feel like, and I hope I'm wrong, like if he does win it, I feel like the fans might turn on him at that point. Like you said, it just feels too early. But
we could have an MJF turn.
That's
very true.
Yeah.
If he takes the belt, I feel like this is the perfect opening for MJF to turn on Cody, and then that's how you build that feud.
I just want Jericho's to hold it until I know that they're planning. I know deep down they're talking about it, because if they promote it for a long time and they build it for a couple of months and they give a couple of months notice, I think for sure they can do some sort of show inside that Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. I think they can do it.
Absolutely.
If there's enough hype behind it, that's why I think they're gonna. I don't think this is gonna be that quick. Jericho, I feel like Jericho should lose his title. He should be hanging on to it until they do that. That's
correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not wrestling at Wrestle Kingdom, Jericho?
Yeah.
So it's like one of two things can happen. It's like, is New Japan not working with AEW, so they don't want Jericho to have the championship to go into that event, or is it the opposite where he should have the title so that they can cross promote?
Yeah.
But who knows?
But they're not working with each other. There was something
right
out that Nick was like, no, they're not working with each other. Yes, Kenny and Jericho have it in their contracts that they can work with New Japan, but they're not working with each other. Now with New Japan going around, and now that they're in the States traveling around, they don't need it. I mean, they're not working with Ring of Honor anymore, and they weren't looking to work with anybody else. I think WWE also wanted to work with them, but they don't need it. They have a big fan base. They don't need AEW. They don't need Ring of Honor. They don't need WWE. They got their own.
It'll be tough, but it'll be tough though. I mean, I like what Kenny said. I can still see them a little bit doing some sort of cross promoting, even though they don't need them as Jericho as a champion. Like it gives him an edge in those matches for Wrestle Kingdom. Like he's not going in as an unchampioned person. He's going in as a world champion from another promotion, which makes the match itself more of a marquee. And especially at a big event like Wrestle Kingdom, is New Japan's WrestleMania. Right. The match looks better as Jericho as world champion going into that match. So slight sidebar, and I apologize for this, but that's all right.
Do we think that we're gonna get? I know we're talking about the Jacksonville Stadium. Do we think we're gonna get a WrestleMania-esque event for AEW?
I think by summer of next year we'll get some sort of announcement. I think they're slowly building the fan base. They're seeing what they're getting for ticket sales, for pay-per-views and stuff. Well, every pay-per-view they sold out so far. So I think the pay-per-views are doing very well. The TVs obviously are another story. I think they can do it. Even if they don't sell out that Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium, they'll do enough of it so that they can fill enough of it. Maybe they only use half the stadium. You know what I mean? Maybe they bring the ramp up a little bit closer. You know what I mean? So that at least they can still make it look full without using the entire stadium.
Right.
But I think because they have it at their disposal. We remember in the early days of AEW and how, like, even in Being the Elite, that their office is basically the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. And, that with Tony Khan and the Khan family owning that place, I don't imagine they wouldn't try to do something like that.
What are you laughing at?
Slam Hub Wrestling said, so I just joined the show. Where's Brandon? Did he get kicked after the show for calling Private Party the Street Profit?
No, you missed him. He was just here.
That's one of our regular Slam Hub Wrestling, but that's funny because as you can see, he missed the show, and he still is aware of how offensive it is that Brandon calls Private Party the Street Profit. So, yeah, no wonder Tiff's laughing.
You know what, Brandon? I have to. It's a regular on this podcast. When you do something wrong, Brandon, I feel bad I have to do this for you, man, because you're my boy. But
Do it. Thank you.
Oh,
shame.
shivers down my spine.
Shame. The bell of shame. Anyways, anywho, Rihu. Speaking of Rihu, we had a women's tag team match on Dynamite tonight. Jamie Hayter back again. Loving her. Loving me some Hayter, man. She's I'm definitely not a hater, for sure.
Not a hater.
No.
Yeah, I hope
She's teaming up with Emil Sakura versus Shauna, who another impressive match this week on Dynamite, and Rihu. So Sakura's overall record 1-2, Shauna's 0-1, and Rihu 6-1. Damn. Insane record for Riho in AEW. I'm glad to see that Jamie Hayter's back. I hopefully think that she'll be a future full-time member of the women's roster. For her to get featured 2 weeks in a row, I think that's a good sign. Very, very good sign. Maybe it shows that they have a lot of promise with her. We know that there's a lot of ties with Bea Priestley and Stardom, so obviously Jamie Hayter, being from Stardom, coming on over and doing a couple of things with AEW, I'm sure there's a relationship being built right there. I hope so. I want to talk about Shauna or Shayna. I don't know how they're pronouncing it. She's going to confirm full-time, so she's a full-time AEW roster member, and she's awesome. I've liked what I've seen out of her.
Was it Shanna? I thought they were pronouncing it Shanna.
Sorry, Shanna.
Yeah.
From France, but labeled as the Portuguese something. I forget what they call her. The Portuguese... I don't know. But she's got the Brazilian flag in her name when it comes up on the Titantron, but she's billed from France. So confused me last week, still confused me this week. I really want to hear her speak. I want to know if she speaks French or not, because I am fluent in French, so I could understand everything she would say. Anywho, Rihu. Speaking of...
Je besoin de papier toilette. That's the only thing I know how to say in French. Go ahead and translate that.
That's the toilet.
Wow, that was great.
It literally means, where's the toilet paper?
I'm very impressed, Kenny. I'm very impressed. Good for you.
Thank you. I may have needed that once or twice in France.
But yeah, you said Shayna? Shauna? Shanna. Okay, I'm going to get that wrong a lot. So Shanna, love her. I loved her work last week. I especially loved her more this week. I think she looked really good this week.
Absolutely.
They brought it up again, in case everyone forgot. Emil Sakura was the coach and trainer for Riho. So I love that they keep bringing that up in it, because now that these two are facing each other at Full Gear for the championship, Emil and Hayter actually looked pretty good in the beginning. There's a little bit of a chemistry with both of those two.
It was a good match.
I totally forgot. Again, I forgot the pronunciation again. I'm just gonna call her Shauna. Just let me call her Shauna.
Think Channing Tatum. Shanna.
So Shanna looks very good in the ring, like I said before. I thought this was a very good match. Crowd was actually pretty good. Pretty well into this match. They got
into this one, yeah.
I was afraid. Yeah. I was scared that they were gonna start dozing off, and that was not gonna be good. The match was pretty decent. It was very, very fast paced. I thought Hayter did a very good job. It was
long, though.
Yeah.
This one went pretty long. Probably the longest of the night, which was surprised me.
Mm-hmm. And I think Hayter did a good job with just being a heel. Like, she's a nasty heel. Like, the type of heel that goes around the ring and literally gets in your face at ringside. Like, she embraces that part of her, and I'm in love with her.
Like her wet willy.
Me too, dude. Yeah. It's funny you say that. It's like literally, like, I'm in love with her is probably the best way to say it, because I'm just sold on Jamie Hayter right away. It's like, as soon as, I mean, she's been there. This is her second appearance, and yet if you put her on TV, like, I'm gonna tune in now.
Yep.
I'm just sold. I mean, unless Brandy Rhodes is gonna stick push her down and then stick her finger in someone's forehead.
I'm kind of upset they didn't bring that up from last week. I'm wondering now, because of Brandy's promo tonight, if that's towards Hayter, because they didn't really kind of give us any clarification on why she did that and why was it against Hater. Like I don't know. But anyways,
no idea. Yeah.
Well, because like I go back into that she's part of Stardom and that her and B were a tag team.
Yeah, but why did Brandy attack her? Like we didn't get any
Brandy
justification as to why she attacked her. You know what I mean? Like there was no reason, there's no follow up.
Because she was the closest woman available,
I guess.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna keep finding out. This is how you build stories. Why? Makes you wonder. Not this like.
Damn it, Tiff. You're so right. That's exactly what makes you tune in, isn't it? The intrigue.
Well, Jamie Hayter thing for me is when I see her, my first, I guess, love in wrestling was Paige, and I'm an obsessed Paige fan. So I see a lot of Paige and Jamie Hayter. So I think that's probably what attracts me to her. So
good. That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is, because Paige has a lot of the qualities that Jamie Hayter has.
Eventually, Rihu gets tagged in a hot tag. There's lots of near falls, a string of countered roll-ups back and forth, which looked really good. And it actually eventually led to Emil Sakura pinning the champ. And man, was Riho shocked. Like, she couldn't believe what just happened. She did a really good job selling it. Emil Sakura, man, that gimmick that she has with the whole Queen thing and Freddie Mercury.
The Freddie Mercury stuff.
I'm not completely sold.
Yes. I was going to say, and I'm half Asian, I'm allowed to say this, Emi Sakura is definitely the epitome of the cheesy Asian gimmick, and I'm not completely sold on it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not doubting anything she does in the ring, because it's amazing. Now Riho, let's give her credit. Not to say she ever got a bad crowd reaction, but it's now to the point where her music hits and the place explodes.
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
AEW has built a star in Riho, the first AEW Women's Champion, to the point when she got into this and got the cradle, when Emi Sakura got the cradle and beat Riho, the place legitimately was shocked. So credit and kudos to AEW's booking, because they built Riho up so strong that Emi Sakura beating her, which again is her mentor, was shocking to the crowd.
Right.
So all in all, this was good. I think they did a really good job building the women's division here.
It's a story. This is what we've been talking about. It's a story.
Damn it, Tiff, you're right.
Shock.
Damn it,
Like,
Tiff.
it could be really
So right.
excited for the damn pay-per-view. So
It's just anytime Tiff talks and makes her points because she's so right, I'm just like, damn it, Tiff, you're right. You were so right.
It's
Tiff.
crazy you talk about the reaction though too. If you want to do a comparison, look at her entrance for when she debuted at Double or Nothing, and then look at her entrance now and just listen to the crowd reaction. When she came out Double or Nothing, people were like, "Who?
Who? Yeah.
Rihu? Who is Rihu?"
Who is Rihu?
To build the new guys. You have to build the new guys.
Exactly what Knox said when he was on the interview with us. He's like, "Don't be shocked,
You're
AW."
right, Tiff.
Damn it, you're right, Rick Knox. No, damn it, you're right, Knox. He was right. Anyway, so we talk about that. They actually had the Brandy vignette right after this. She says she hates the whoever she's talking to. She hates that she's being compared to Cody. Like she's only there because she's with Cody Rhodes, and she hates that everyone's labeling her as that. She makes that comparison, or not the comparison. She brings up the whole Awesome Kong thing. We've seen her kind of like rising up in the background as the vignette's going along.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, it's creeped me out, man.
I was right. I have and again, this is not a flex, but I have a 65-inch TV, and I literally was kind of backing away from my TV because I'm looking. They did such a good job of the slow pan onto Brandy Rhodes. And then I'm kind of like looking, really paying attention. And then again, just if you're into TV production, they did this perfectly.
They're so good. They've been so good at these vignettes. They've been so good.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. But if you're staring at Brandy Rhodes' eyes in that same spot, as big as humanly possible, Awesome Kong's face comes up, and so it's as if her eyes are staring straight at yours. And I literally jumped. I was like, "Oh my God!" when she first showed up. And then it just got, even though at that point I was expecting it, it still just kept getting progressively creepier.
Right, and she builds up that it's her brain and her and Awesome Kong's body, and then together they're unstoppable. And I'm like, oh god, this could actually be a dominant duo here.
I actually was sold on it.
Yeah, I'm loving Brandy this way.
Yeah.
Now I think Brandy still needs work in the ring, but I'm loving these promos that we're getting from her right now.
I think until she gets better, I think she's probably going to be, if they finally get on TV, she's going to be the manager type role for Awesome Kong. Like Awesome Kong's going to do her bidding and do her wrestling for her. So I want to know who she's cutting a promo on. So they sent a tweet out. She ended the thing like, or the end of the vignette by saying, "Who are the bullies now?" And she gave it a little bit of an evil laugh. So I sent a tweet out saying, "Who do you think out there who is Brandy talking to?" And the best answer I got so far was actually from our girl Queen from NE, and she says she's talking to wrestling Twitter.
I like the one that somebody was like the camera. That one actually made me laugh.
Someone also said Britt Baker. You put a Britt Baker gif, and someone put definitely not Tyler Perry. That's for sure. Assuming that Acrimony 2 would be a thing in the future because one is enough. So thanks for that answer. But I'm still giving the award to Queen of NE that Brandy was talking to wrestling Twitter.
I like that.
And as she should. Wrestling Twitter is horrible, Queen. I agree with you.
Oh, it is. It's such a toxic environment. My God. As much as there's a lot of people who are positive and, who support each of our podcasts, props to you guys and the fans that are in the non-toxic side. But the toxic side of Twitter, from what I read, I'm like, oh my God, like you people, just you egg-shaped profile pictured people with your 800 digits at your end of your username. Like Jeremy 54686924614, and have 3 followers.
Shout out to him.
Following 10 people, 0 followers, and you like to just type on your little burner account.
And it works because we're on a podcast with 3 legit podcasters talking about Jeremy 5463321, who's sitting there probably in his mom's basement jerking off to some Emi Sakura videos. I don't know.
Hey, whatever floats his boat, man. I'm not gonna tell you what to watch, but whatever gets your rocks off, do what you gotta do, bro. Anyways,
I don't know why I said Emi Sakura. I apologize. It was the first.
Hey, man,
the first thing that came to mind.
Dime.
That mustache in her interest really did it for
she does the stomp clap. Oh, I guess me going.
Her theme song actually irritates me.
Oh my God!
Like,
thank you.
It's not even remotely creative. Like they're doing the Queen dut dut dut, and then it just goes into like and then for some reason in the background they're going doot doot.
I hate it. It sounds so bad. Can they please change that theme song? That might be the worst one I've ever heard in my entire life. It's up there with the B Team theme song for me. I don't know. I couldn't get behind that either.
The B Team go go.
No, drove me nuts. I'm like it's just like
their previous theme song was amazing, which is exactly why the new one's so horrible. But I digress. Anywho, Rihu.
Yeah, anywho, Rihu. Got an unannounced matchup when it's between our boy Brandon Cutler. #Cutler footage. We did an interview with him. Awesome guy. Can't wait to meet him at StarCast. And facing Sean Spears, who I'm meeting at StarCast too. My boy from Niagara Falls here in my hometown. Been following this guy forever. And I'm excited to meet him again. I met him at WrestleMania Access in New Orleans. I made a sign that says we drove. I forget what it was, but we converted it into kilometers as Canadians just to see Ty Dillinger, and he loved it so much. He signed the sign, and then he took a picture with his own phone of the sign with us in it.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to see him again and show him that picture. I'm sure he remembers it. I'm actually thinking, Tiff, tomorrow about making another sign for that, making the same kind of sign. But I drove whatever kilometers to see the chairman and I'm gonna do his logo on a chair on the sign. I'm gonna try to do it tomorrow. Let's see if I can get it done. I got a lot to do tomorrow before we go, but we'll see. Brandon Cutler facing off against Sean Spears, a unannounced match. Cutler an 0-2 record. Yikes. Sean Spears an even 2-2. They did show a very quick clip before the match. The Spears attacking.
Let's talk about that.
It's very quick, and it was cut early, and I didn't like that. I'm not sure if this was because of time constraints. Maybe they were worried at this point that they weren't going to get to main event in time. But I'm looking at the clock at this. I'm like, they have lots of time. Why didn't we see this entire clip? And they showed Spears attacking. I wrote down Moxley. I meant Joey Janela. And him having a pair of pliers, and it looked like he was trying to rip out his tongue or his tongue ring.
So that was weird to me because I watched AEW Dark, and I had thought that he went for a tooth based on the way they did it, but then they were hyping that he had gone for Joey Janela's tongue. And then I thought that was even weirder because it was like, why would he? I don't know. I feel like a wrench is not a tool for a tongue.
Yeah, it was just I was like, what's going on here? Anyway,
it was good though,
and they cut it.
It's
building against the story between him and Janela. It's interesting because Janela is just another type of character. So it's a decent match. Good moves back and forth. Cutler looks very impressive in the ring. I like that they're at least letting him show off his ability in the ring, even though he's kind of playing the jobber role currently, which kind of sucks.
He had me dying.
But he's two contract Cutler. He's all right. He's got a wrestling contract and a producing contract, so he's okay. He's getting paid.
but he was taunting Sean Spears with 10, and then I don't know if you noticed this, but he did a bit where he threw the dice.
Yeah. I saw that. I'm like, he's his Dungeons and Dragons fan base really loves it. I'm sorry, Brandon, don't hate me. I've never gotten into that, but Spears ends up getting the win. I'm loving Spears' new finishing move, that running, what's it called? That running fireman's carry that he does. I'm kind of digging it. I think it's better than I think his other finishing move is used a lot in a lot of wrestlers' move sets, I think. So I think he kind of wanted to change it up a bit. So I'm loving it. I'm digging it. Spears actually gets the chair from Tully after to try to bring into the ring to try to hit that finisher on. But Joey Janela comes running out for the save. And, they chase Tully and Spears away.
Oh, man, I thought they were going to botch that because when Tully Blanchard put the chair in the ring. And it was... who was it? Spears kind of kicked it away accidentally.
Oh, right, so right.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere near where it was supposed to be. And then I was like, oh, man, that sucks. And then he had the wherewithal to put it where it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And Janela had really good timing on coming out for the save, too. So a potential botch that they kind of all saved. So, again, credit to AEW. All these guys are getting it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm just running with it.
Let's go.
So, anywho, we come back from commercial break and to the main event. This is what I want to point out first before we get to this main event. It looks like they're doing it because they've done it for 2 or a couple of weeks in a row now where they get into the main event and Justin Roberts is looking at the camera. The lights are turned down. It's blue. And he's looking at the camera and he says the name of the city. This is your main event. And he says it again to get the crowd even more hyped. It looks like they're kind of going to be doing something like that. And I love that to get people hyped for the main event. I'm loving that sort of announcement style, and they have a guy, a really good guy to do it with Justin Roberts, probably one of the best ring announcers out there for wrestling. So besides Kenny here, who is a ring announcer as well. So
I haven't even done my first show yet.
But, commentator?
Just saying.
You said you did commentary too?
I've commentated for Knockout Wrestling. I'm going to do ring announcing at their next show and interviews. So
there you go. Brush up on your Justin Roberts imitation. There you go.
Absolutely.
Make sure you do that Jan kind of thing.
Jan!
Get on. Kyle's got to get on it as well. So because I'm actually making my appearance as well at the end of the month.
There's nothing up here though.
Hey.
Nothing happens up here.
Yeah, your girl is doing commentary for a match on November 30th.
Hey,
what up, Kyle? What are you doing, Kyle?
I'm
making
going to
signs
Niagara
in kilometers,
Falls.
Kyle?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's fun stuff here. Anyways, anywho, Guevara, Jericho, tagging up, facing off Hangman and Omega. Guevara at 2-3, Jericho at 5-0, Hangman at 4-3, and Omega at 5-3. Good for him on improving that overall record, man. You had an ugly one getting into AEW at first, so Omega getting back into that win column. Kenny actually had a really good reception. Not this Kenny, but Kenny Omega.
Yep.
Wow.
Jake Hagar came out with Jericho. And then coming back from break, Jericho. I don't know what you guys think with your TNT feed, but my TSN feed up here. I came back from break, and Jericho is literally in the midst of calling the crowd an asshole. And I'm like, wait, what? What happened? I'm like, wait, what's going on here? He has a mic, and he's like, I'm the asshole. You're the assholes.
So Jericho, if anybody doesn't know, Jericho has always done stuff like that. His famous 1004 holds promo. He's said on For the Record that when they went to commercial break in the middle of him saying that he started running down the town and their baseball team, their football team, their this. So when they came back on air, everybody was like, boo, and booing the crap out of him. So Jericho is known to grab a mic just to get some heat so that when they come back from break, they are, the crowd is at their full vitriol throwing at him. And I guess he was doing it here. I'll have to watch it back to see if they did that on TNT, but that's kind of funny that you got to see that on TSN.
Yeah, I was like, okay, wait a minute. And then the crowds are going, we are assholes. And I'm like, okay. But the match itself, sick main event. So good. So good. Omega showing off why he's the best wrestler in the world. The guy is just so good and so fluid in the ring. He's just so good. And it's probably because I'm just biased because I'm a huge Omega fan. So it's probably where that's coming from. But I don't think anyone can argue that he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. And tonight I think he really proved that in this match as well, like he does every week.
Well, let's talk as someone who's sorry, Tiff, were you saying something?
No, I'm thinking about like Kenny and Sammy. Like he made Sammy look really good, and poor Sammy with the chops on his chest.
Oh man,
he
got chopped to death.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Anthony Gangone's chops were bad. No, like Kenny Omega. Oh my
he was
God.
on point with his chops this week. He was very on point.
Yeah.
You know who's also good at chops? Spears.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone like Sean Spears is really good at chopping. Like every time I've seen his match when he's chopping someone, he puts a lot into it, and it's a good smack. So
he's a big guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize he's like 6'2" and just jacked to the gills. I mean, so he's a big guy. He can put a lot of power behind those chops. But I did want to make a point about Kenny Omega because obviously I would say more of in the past at least have been a WWE fan, so I wasn't really into Kenny Omega I'm not as biased towards him. Right. And even I can tell you that he is definitely stepped up in the past couple weeks, starting with that match at AEW Dark with Joey Janela. Kenny Omega now is on the right trajectory in AEW. It really looked like he was going to flounder for a little bit there.
Yep.
And something I noticed, which is really stupid, but I think a lot of that has to do with one very simple thing. And again, people are going to be like, what is he talking about? But his theme song, what they had done before was they had played the entire theme song, which is a very soft build. Yeah. Now they're kicking it into high gear like right away, and it's just starting right away, like from a hard part of the song. And I noticed that this week it started from the hard part of the song, and the crowd just went apeshit right away for Kenny Omega. So again, AEW is starting to just realize little things. They're like, why is Kenny Omega not getting a good reaction?
Do you think maybe they'll save it for pay-per-views? Do you think maybe like they save that for like the pay-per-views and the big entrances when there's enough time maybe?
I think they should. I think that's exactly what they should do with him, is kind of when you have Justin Roberts announcing him for a title match, you can have that big build with his elaborate costume. That works. But yeah, when you have a main event here that we need to just go, start it from the hard part, personally. So again, I think AEW's just, I think the overall theme of this episode was they're fixing the little kinks, and it's getting to be such a good show.
And it was an insane ending. There was so much chaos at the end, like with Jake Hager. I'm saying it like Jericho. Jake Hager. There was the one spot where Kenny was supposed to do his outside dive, and he got in the middle of it with that strike on Kenny. Pac ended up interfering on Hangman Page as well with the big low blow. It caused basically the end of the match because Hangman rolled into the ring. Jericho stood up the Judas Effect. Looks like he's sticking with that move. It's a really I like the move. I like the Judas Effect. I know I know he's playing off of. It's not exactly the same, but he's playing off of Okada's Rainmaker.
Right.
So I like it. So Jericho was able to win the match there, and then chaos just broke out from there with the Inner Circle coming in and attacking, and it was one after the other with Cody, and then. I'm trying to think who came out. There's so many people that came out here. I didn't write it down. Okay, Moxley came out, and then
Young Bucks came out.
Bucks, Moxley, and he was starting this thing with Omega. They both had their barbed wire weapons, but then they couldn't attack each other with perfect timing by Proud and Powerful, or LAX, as a lot of people still refer to him as, coming in and attacking both of them. And then there's that big spot on the ramp where I think it was Matt that did the flip onto everybody. Nick. It was Nick that did the flip onto everybody. There's even a spot where Kenny and Moxley saved the Young Bucks at one point, and then they looked at each other on the ramp. So okay, now it's our turn. They start beating the crap out of each other.
Great spot, by the way. That was like a great spot because of the lack of. They didn't hesitate. They literally just did it. They looked at each other 2 seconds and just started fighting because they're like, and it was just comedic in a way, but also really good to like tease their feud. That like, I don't give a crap about any of these guys. I hate you, and I'm coming after you. So I thought
insane.
It was really
well done. Basically showing like all the little feuds and matches that are happening between the Elite and the Inner Circle against each other. And
again,
that was his
story.
That was the big outline. It's basically
You're so right, Tiff.
Yeah.
Damn it.
It's basically the Elite and the Inner Circle. Besides Pac, it's the Elite and the Inner Circle against each other, and they're basically, that's what's happening at Full Gear. So it's, and obviously Moxley too, being the outcast there as well. But very, very hectic ending, and it did what it needed to do with building the stories going into Full Gear. And God, I'm excited. I'm pumped for Full Gear. Very, very, very pumped.
Let's go.
I think Tiff said it best. If you had come into this AEW Dynamite and before it aired, I should say, and asked any AEW fan like, "Hey, what do you think about Full Gear?" I mean, you two are going, and I'm sure your response would have been like, it's cool. It's a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like it's all right. I hope it's good. But after AEW Dynamite, the quote-unquote go-home show. I've never seen a go-home show that literally, now that we're talking about it, I'm pumped for Full Gear. Yeah. And this is kind of a very different than what other wrestling companies do, because I feel in my heart of hearts, AEW almost didn't hype Full Gear until this last episode. Whereas most companies do this long drag out. I'm talking about some of the bigger companies, you know which one I'm talking about, that do this long drawn out build, and then the go home is almost like somebody holding a title and they're fighting over it. Let's not talk about that Brock and Roman title thing. But
the last couple of weeks we got little build, and then we had like a bunch of missing, and it just closed it all off tonight. So
right.
I wasn't so excited until tonight's I was excited, but like not as excited as I am now after watching the episode.
And I feel like they, in terms of storylines, right? It's almost like they shook the proverbial bottle. For the weeks they've just been shaking this bottle, and then tonight they just released all the pressure, and it was just like an explosion of all the storylines.
Dynamite!
Yeah. I'm so metaphoric tonight. It was, yes, they lit the fuse. Damn it! Here we go. They lit the fuse, and tonight the Dynamite exploded, and boom goes the Dynamite. So. But in all seriousness, that's how it felt. It felt like there was so much frenetic energy to the point where I'm like, I have to order this pay-per-view. Yeah. And AEW, the challenge with AEW is like, they have to convince people to depart with $50 to be able to watch this pay-per-view. Wow. And I'll be damned if they didn't convince me to do it.
It's funny you say that, Kenny, because I kid you not, at the end of this week's episode, and it'll be confirmed by Tiff, my buddy No Cell Phil, who's coming with us to Baltimore, Tiff, he texted me in his episode. He goes, "Man, that was such a sick episode of Dynamite. I'm actually going to order the pay-per-view just to support it, even though I'm going to be there live."
Wow.
There you go.
You guys,
there you go.
That's how much we love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That says it all.
Mm-hmm. So, awesome episode of Dynamite this week. Very, very good episode. A lot to talk about there. So without further ado, before we get anywhere into our predictions, guys, very quickly, make sure you're following us on social media on All Elite Podcast. Make sure you give us a like on Facebook. like us on or follow us on Instagram at All Elite Pod and follow us on Twitter at All Elite Pod. And make sure you are going to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/NoHoldsBarred Network. Yes, I got to finally change the URL after hitting 1K like I promised I would. And subscribe.
Yes.
And make sure you hit that subscribe button with the little bell icon turned on for notification updates. Also, you're going to want to check us out and take us on the go if you prefer. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio, CastBox, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and Podcast Addict. Basically, wherever you're getting your podcast, you can find the All Elite Podcast. Either search up All Elite Podcast or search up the No Holds Barred Network. You'll find us. And make sure you are clicking the right link. All links are located down in the YouTube description below if you need help with that. Also, our AEPT store is alive right now, guys. Go check it out, allelepodcast.secure-decoration.com. Link for you, again, to help you with that is down in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast. Awesome t-shirts on there, guys, especially one t-shirt in particular that I want to share with you guys, and that is provided by the band that does the official theme song for this podcast, These Wolves. They have a t-shirt on there with their custom logo they provided with us, and that is These Wolves Music for the Elite. They are proud to partner with us for our t-shirt store. Guys, our t-shirt store is 100% non-profit. We donate every proceed to Culture City, who are a non-profit organization helping those out there in the inclusion and acceptance of people for the inclusion and acceptance of all individuals regardless of their unique abilities at all AEW events. So really good promotion and really good partnership with These Wolves for our All Elite Podcast t-shirt store. So go check it out. Get yourself a t-shirt or a coffee mug or a sweater, whatever. There's a lot of stuff on there. A lot of random stuff. There's like a pillow cover for whatever reason.
Which I have. It's definitely comfortable.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like it's the next best thing besides sleeping next to Kyle Masters.
Wow. I'm not gonna argue with that. Anywho, Rihu.
I'm just here to derail the podcast, guys. Hi, guys.
Without further ado, let's get into our full gear predictions here. And Kenny's going to join us on our full gear train here and give his predictions as well. So we'll do like a three-way predictions, I guess a little thing here. See who comes out on top. So getting to full gear. Awesome. It's going to be this Saturday, November 9th on pay-per-view, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, wherever your time zone is. Find your way to enjoy full gear. You can order it on Fight TV if you're overseas, ITV Box Office, and basically on your pay-per-view network. Wherever you can order pay-per-view, you can find full gear. Should be an awesome pay-per-view. Should be. Oh, God. You
boy.
Broke it. You
Here we
broke
go.
the crown.
I am the queen.
Your BK Lounge crown.
Shut up! It's not breaking.
Wait, I need a lucky item, too. Hold on.
Oh, no. I'm scared. I'm scared.
I have my daughter's
Oh, boy.
Elmo doll.
Well, what do
And in case I needed more luck, I have a even bigger Elmo.
Oh, God. I don't know if I have anything. Actually, I got something back here. It's an old fig. It's of Le Champion,
Oh, geez.
Chris Jericho, the WWE figure with him and the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think the highlight reel behind him. There you go, the highlight reel screen. You can see it right there. I don't even know why I have this action figure. I have no idea where it came from. I don't even remember buying this. It's just here. And it's Le Champion, so I have him in the background.
Here, we got him clipped. We got him clipped to me.
Fat Pharaoh. Hold on.
We got Fat Pharaoh. There you go.
Matt Nick Jackson.
Oh, God. Do you have any more hands?
I was gonna say I have a holy water, so
There you
I have
go.
the power of Christ will
Hey, what
compel me
happened
to.
the drool? Wasn't it the drool? The Brandon drool?
Oh, speaking of which, I do have casual wrestling fan drool water
Oh, okay.
right there. So there's my. But you see, that's a bad. Tiff tricked me. Now I'm not gonna get any of them correct.
Well, then, we'll get right into the predictions. Why not? So we have one buy-in match announced. I imagine the second match they announced tonight will be in the buy-in as well. They just announced one right after, Wikipedia announced it right after the show tonight. It looks like Sean Spears will be taking on Joey Janela at Full Gear. It hasn't been announced if it's going to be in the buy-in. I imagine it probably will be in a buy-in, being now there's 8 confirmed matches with that match. So in one buy-in match, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll treat it as a buy-in, so we'll talk about those two first. And we'll talk about the first one, and that is Britt Baker taking on B. Priestley. Very, very heated contest between these two. A lot of backlash between the two. This stems all the way from Fight for the Fallen when
I was there.
Yep, Kenny was there. Where B, there was the one spot that caused Britt Baker to have a concussion, and it kind of just seems like these two. It kind of hit this feud hit off from that pay-per-view. And it doesn't look like these two have ever seen eye to eye since. So it kind of seems like maybe B's a little jealous of Britt Baker in some way. I don't know why. But.
So, guys, if you are not sold on this feud whatsoever, I would encourage you to go watch AEW Dark, because they did an amazing promo package on Britt Baker and this feud specifically.
Exactly.
To the point where I don't think I was a big fan of Britt Baker before this, but now I'm sold, because just little things. A little thing I'll spoil is they said Britt Baker was talking about concussion protocol, injury protocol amongst wrestlers. You call the wrestler and say, hey, are you okay? She said, I never got a phone call from B. Priestley. That says it all.
Wow.
Yeah, and so if you have a chance to go check that back, go on YouTube, check out AEW Dark. It will sell you on this match.
It was good, and it's funny you say that, because back when Britt Baker had her little stint in NXT, I remember. I remember me and my buddy Brandon, an old co-host of mine on the network. He was when she first. I'm like, oh, this name's Britt Baker. I'm like, she just start a gimmick and be like. Her whole promo thing should be like, you're about to get baked. And we were laughing at how corny that was. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I don't know if we're ever going to see her ever again. And sure enough, almost a year and a half, 2 years later, she's one of the biggest women stars in the company, regardless of people want to say. She's one of the top women in this company.
She is.
Yeah,
she is.
AEW's definitely made her, I think, a bigger star than she was beforehand. So I'm glad that she's finally getting her shot here in AEW and a chance to be bigger than what she was and have a chance to grow, especially in AEW. So she's not going to be, if something were ever to happen with her, obviously now with her recent concussion, there's always going to be precaution with her going forward. If there were ever the case where she would end up having another bad concussion, she's fine she'll be fine out of wrestling. We know her DMD is not fake. It's not a gimmick. She's actually a real dentist. So she has something to fall back on that she still does in between wrestling. So I'm just loving this whole feud with B. Like, this has been so heated. We've seen all their interactions lately. Like, these two girls hate each other. Like, they want to rip each other's hair off. Like, they just want to just absolutely go at it on each other, and I can't wait to see it. I'm actually shocked it was a little bit into the buy-in, but looking at the card right now, there's really not another match you could probably fit into the buy-in besides Janela and Spears. So whatever,
it's a good problem to have. Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
But it's also a good match to have in the buy-in to get people to want to buy the pay-per-view. I think these two are actually going to put on a show, especially one-on-one. We haven't seen these two girls one-on-one yet and given the time to have a really good one-on-one match. They've always been in tag team matches against each other, so I'm excited for it. As for a pick, I'm going to pick Britt Baker. I think Britt's going to come out on top, and I don't know, I have no really reasoning behind it. I'm just going to go with my gut on this one, so I'm going to pick Britt Baker. So we'll go to Tiff.
I love to go against you.
Why?
I don't know. But it's fun. But this is why I am the queen. This is why I've been winning. I'm 2 ahead of Kyle. But yeah, I really feel that B needs the win here because she hasn't picked up a win yet. So.
Oh, that's true. She hasn't she hasn't had a singles victory. I think she's had one tag team victory.
Right. Yeah. So I think she needs the win here, and we can probably still continue with the feud even after. We could have like a cage match or something later down the line, or But yeah,
Cage match. Woof. Look at your fantasy booking.
Yes, my fantasy booking. No, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be the end. But yeah, I'm gonna go with B.
Okay, well, comes down to Kenny. Who are you going with?
All right. Well, to elaborate on what Tiff was saying, this was my pick regardless. I was going to say there's no way B Priestley doesn't win this match for the simple reason that she's a heel. She needs the victory. I don't think she's going to win clean. I think she's going to win by very, very underhanded tactics here, maybe even injuring Britt Baker, something to extend the feud. But the main reason why she needs to win is because this is on the pre-show. Yeah. This is not a main match. So why would you kill off this feud and have Britt Baker overcome if this is on the pre-show? You can build this all the way to the next AEW pay-per-view where, whether you want to extend it then or not, or give Britt Baker her win then, in other words, I'm just saying there's no way B Priestley's losing.
Maybe they pull like another injury angle where she's unable to finish the match, and that's how B
something like that.
Yeah, and it just
something like that.
They leave it on another cliffhanger where this is not over. So okay, I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. I'm still gonna keep my pick, but we have Tiff and Kenny going.
Well, someone
with
has
B.
to be wrong. So
yeah, Tiff and Kenny going with B. I'm going with Britt Baker in this one. So it's not official yet, but I'm assuming it'll probably be in the buy-in, depending on what their plan is with the buy-in. But we'll talk about Janela and Spears here. This all started after Sean Spears losing to Cody, and I believe it was Cody or losing to Moxley, and they were backstage, and they were in the locker room, and then Janela was in like the shower area, and he was smoking a cigarette, and then he walks by Spears, and like even there was the one spot where Tully was gonna chase after him after he put his cigarette in I think Spears' Diet Coke or Tully's Diet Coke, and then Spears had to hold him back, and it kind of started there, and it's just been stemming from that, and it's come down to a point after what we just seen this week with the footage of AEW Dark of him like trying to rip whatever we haven't figured out what he's trying to rip out of his mouth, but something, tooth piercing, whatever. And then Janela coming out for the save on Brandon Cutler. So these two are gonna have a match. If it's gonna be buy-in, this one's tough.
I know.
I don't want I don't think Spears can take another L here, or else it's just
that's how I feel
his
too.
thing with Tully is just gonna fade away, and it's just not gonna mean anything anymore. Janela is the type of cat to I don't think he really gives a crap about his record, and I don't think anyone else should give a crap about his record in AEW. He's the type of guy that he's gonna have a good match with anybody he's in the ring with. We've seen his match with Kenny Omega, and that was probably one of the sickest matches I've seen in AEW so far. I don't think this is gonna matter. I'm pretty sure what I'm trying to say is he can take an L. Kenny. Joey Janela can take an L here, so I'm going to go with my boy Sean Spears to hopefully not kill off this pairing with him and Tully, or else what's the point of them even being together? So I'm going to stick with my hometown boy, Sean Spears. So Tiffany. And I'm actually intrigued to see what Tiffany picks here because Janela's her boy.
Hi guys, because I already know a lot of things me and Kyle are going to go against each other. No, I don't agree with you. I'm gonna go with Joey Janela.
Boo.
Joey Janela, so over. He's
don't care.
So over
don't
with
matter.
The
crowd don't matter.
I think eventually, Tully's gonna walk away from Sean Spears. I don't think Sean Spears needs him. I think it was a cool gimmick in the beginning with the whole thing with Cody, but I don't think Sean Spears needs anybody. And I think with them wanting to build a lot of the new guys.
Interesting way to look at it. Okay.
Yeah, I think with them also wanting to build the new guys, Joey Janela. But again, I think Joey Janela is so over with the crowd, and I think he's going to pick up the win here.
Okay. Wow. Down again to Kenny for the tiebreaker.
So on this one, I think Tiff said something correct, which is that Joey Janela is so over, which is why I think he can afford a loss here. So I think you have a situation where Joey Janela's credibility is not hurt by a loss here because the crowd's going to eat him up no matter what. Sean Spears, however, arguably has the second worst fall from grace besides Kenny Omega, but Kenny Omega's rebounding. Now I feel like Shawn Spears is the worst in AEW in the sense of them building him as a star.
Okay.
He needs this win. He absolutely needs this win because what can you do for his character afterwards? You have a guy who took out, management in Cody Rhodes, started calling himself the chairman of AEW, and has done nothing ever since. Mm-hmm. So to me, he needs to beat someone the caliber of Joey Janela, and then you can build towards a feud. He can start challenging for a mid-card title or something like that later on.
There is no mid-card now. So
we're going to get a mid-card title soon, I promise you.
Yeah. I think it'll eventually happen. Maybe at Homecoming, though. I think maybe Homecoming or the New Year's Day episode, we're probably going to get maybe the debut of the championship.
I don't think it's that soon.
I think it will be.
We'll see.
We'll get into where I think is probably going to be maybe the opening contest of Full Gear, and that is Pac versus Hangman Page. This poster, I don't mind it. I don't know if it's actually presented by Fire Pro Wrestling World. I don't know. It's just a poster I found on Google, so I don't know. If you think it is, good for you. If not, then whatever. But Page versus Pac. One-on-one here. This feud has been stemming all the way back from before even Double or Nothing, and these guys are still going at each other, which is crazy. This has probably been the longest feud so far in AEW, and I'm loving it. I'm loving all. Actually, wasn't it the press conference that these guys started this whole thing?
This was the first probably officially announced feud in AEW history, which we did not get.
Right.
So yes, this is definitely the culmination of, it's so weird. It's so weird to think, like, remember the rumblings of AEW and it being a company. Now look where we are. That's just kind of crazy to think about.
I thought that match was originally supposed to be for the AEW title. Like, that's how
I think we all did.
So yeah, that's when you go all the way back to the press conference. That's what we thought.
I think this could be one of those feuds that just carries on in AEW. Maybe not necessarily keep going after this, but one of those feuds they can always go back on. There's always going to be a history between these two. I think this is one of those feuds, like kind of like a Trish and Lita kind of thing. They always revisited that eventually. This could be one of those feuds, and it looks like it's working out so far because I'm excited for this match. I think if they didn't put so much effort into it, I think by now people would be like, okay, why the hell are we getting this match again? Like, we've seen these guys go at it. We're tired of it. We're sick of it. But Pac and Hangman, I think, could be one of those feuds that they could have a match later on a pay-per-view next year by this time, and I wouldn't mind seeing these guys go at it again because they've had good times in the ring with each other. So I think I'm expecting a really good match out of both of them. And I brought this up to Tiff a couple of podcasts ago or last week that I think Hangman's really. I know he's good, but I think for some reason I've seen him getting better as the weeks go on in AEW since the first TV taping. He's been getting a lot better in the ring, a lot smoother in the ring. I think that's because he's hasn't had a consistent go before AEW. He's been on literally in a match every single week on AEW, and I think that's what's probably helping him improve his craft. So I've seen a lot of progression with Page.
Something to do with Adam Page. We were watching something AEW related, and Brandon, my co-host on my podcast, was over, and he's not as well versed in wrestling sometimes, so he asked questions. He goes, there's a lot of AEW guys. He's like, that Hangman Adam Page, he came from WWE, right? And I said, no. And I said, why did you think that? And so he starts explaining that he has that aura, that mystique, like. Vince McMahon would love him, and he's been a big star in professional wrestling, and now he's come to AEW to apply his trade. So that's the perception that Brandon, my co-host, has of him, is that he is already somebody. And that, I think that says it all right there, is that, he's never really had this North American platform before. And yet he still comes across, like, when you tune into TV and you don't know who he is, you're like, oh, look, that guy's a wrestler. That guy's a star.
Yeah. And
so...
You know who's good is Pac. Like, Pac is amazing, and I was watching this. I was watching this with my girlfriend tonight, and she was like, "I absolutely love Pac," and I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "I just love how and she's not knowledgeable in wrestling, but so I'm getting her reaction as a first time watcher of wrestling, and she absolutely loves Pac, and I'm like, he's the bad guy, right? She's like, yeah, but I love his whole gimmick, and I love how he's such a bastard, like the way he acts, and she was in love with him. I'm like, I know he's really good, and she loves his in-ring work too, and Pac's just so good. Like I remember even him in WWE, I was so behind him, and I had a lot of hopes for him, and when he first got caught up to the main roster, I hated the way they booked him, and when they finally did the whole King of the Cruiserweight thing, I was like, okay, I can kind of get behind that. He's breaking out of his shell, and I was so behind that, and obviously, things didn't work out, and I'm glad we're kind of seeing that same kind of King of the Cruiserweights thing.
The same character. Yeah, the same exact character.
Yeah.
But he, the good thing about him, I mean, people forget this, when he was called up to the main roster, there was a match where he was in that rookie role, and he almost, it looked like he almost beat Seth Rollins for the title, and the fans really got behind him even back then. So now that Pac is in AEW and he's just retained not only all of that athleticism, but now he's got facials on top of it. Like, I mean, he doesn't need to do a damn thing. He just looks in the camera and snarls, and I'm like, oh man, like Pac's the man. Right. And so he's come to AEW as a complete package. So for him to face a newcomer like Adam Page, this is, like you said, this is that fight forever feud. This is the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn of AEW. Yeah. You just want to see them fight all the time.
Right. So as for a prediction for this match, God, this is a very, very tough one for me. I was looking at this match going, man, I don't know what's going on. I can't. Both these guys have such a momentum. They both are riding a high wave of momentum going in this match, and you're having two really high momentum. Like, this is probably going to be the hardest match to call for the night. I can't. It's so tough. So if I had to pick a winner here, I'm gonna point towards Pac, and I think they're gonna continue to do more of this, because we've seen a lot of stuff on Being the Elite where Hangman he's been letting the Elite down, and they've been kind of phasing him out of the Elite, and I think this is going to be another step towards something to do with that storyline of Hangman phasing out of the Elite. So I'm giving the edge to Pac in this one. So Tiffany.
I don't think Pac's gonna win this one, and I know, like, back then you were like, oh, like, I picked Pac and you picked Paige, and I'm going the opposite with you. I think Paige needs this. I still, as crazy as I said, I feel like it goes into like the whole thing with like Cody also later with MJF. I don't think we're gonna get a bunch of like turns. It's just too much, because I thought about like Hangman turning on the Elite. It's very hard, but the good thing is that you can think about so many possibilities that can happen, and that's what makes these predictions really hard. But I think Hangman needs this win, and the feud can continue. Like you said, it's those matches that you can just see going. So since Pac's already up 1 against Hangman, I think Hangman's gonna take this one.
Right. Okay, so Kenny, it's on to you. For a tiebreaker.
I am torn on this one. I'm absolutely torn. Like, I literally, while you all were talking, I was almost like trying to stall and like hope you all kept talking so I could try to figure it out. I'll go with a really bold prediction and say this one ends in a no contest, and say this one gets thrown out, because it's just a scenario where they're too strong. The points we're all making, it's like they're way too strong. It's like, so this might be the one that you can take to a time limit and just kind of continue on. I probably won't happen, but I just don't want to be the person who has to decide between these two.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so
Adam Page, though, if you really ask me. The Hangman.
Right.
Okay.
Some cowboy shit.
Some cowboy shit. He's definitely going to bring some cowboy shit to Baltimore, and we'll have to see what kind of cowboy shit, because we know... rest in peace to Hunter Horse Helmsley.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. So maybe Hunter Horse Helmsley.
Maybe Hunter Horse Helmsley Jr. is a thing. We'll have to see. Or maybe he has another clever name for a horse.
That horse was getting around. I promise you. He's a thoroughbred. He definitely has some kids out there.
Maybe he's got Horse Michaels. This is next next story. I don't know. I can't think of it. Can't think of it. It's too late. Anyways, speaking of Anywho Rihu, we'll talk about the AEW Women's World Championship match at Baltimore at Full Gear in Baltimore. Riho going up against Emi Sakura for the Women's Championship. Interesting choice of Emi Sakura against Riho. I know there's really not a lot of others they could have chosen from. Really looking at their women's division to really, I mean, maybe they could have gone with like a Jordan Grace. I know she's not really in AEW, and Emi Sakura is. And they're doing this thing. They're still building Brandy up, and B and Britt have their thing going. So they really had their hands tied here, and they really had to go with someone.
Yeah, her wins kind of. She was next in line.
Yeah. So Riho against Emi Sakura, Women's Championship. I don't know what to make of this because really there hasn't really been a build behind this. I think it was just more like another Joshi showcase, and this time it's with the Women's Championship on the line. So I'm very nervous about this match because I will give the women credit as they've been good in AEW, but there's been a lot of, I can't know if I'm going to say botches, but a lot of sloppiness a little bit, and I'm scared that Emi Sakura they're gonna sloppily. I hope they don't, and Emi ends up winning the championship off a botch. I really hope that is not a case, and they're smarter about this. I think we're still gonna get a good match. We have the teacher against the student in this case, and Joshi wrestling is really good. Especially, I think it's gonna be a lot less sloppy, maybe because it's 1-on-1. I can't see it being one of the matches of the night. It's probably going to be the least timed match. It's probably not going to go on that long. And I can't really see Riho losing the championship. I think this is going to be an obvious pick across the board for us. And I'm going to pick Riho for the win here because there's not much else to talk about this match other than, appreciation for Joshi wrestling. And, I can't really talk about a feud because there's no feud here. So, Tiffany, what do you got?
I'm with you, too, on this one. Not the only one I'm with you on.
Okay. How do you know?
I don't know. I have a feeling. I don't know.
And then,
sure.
I'm assuming maybe?
Short and simple. I kind of respectfully disagree that there is a kind of a built-in feud here because it is student versus teacher. I do think this match is designed to show Riho off more. Okay. This match does nothing but just help Riho and let you buy in, no pun intended, buy into her more. And Emi Sakura is going to be there to basically do all the spots that she can for Riho. And I also think, I agree with you on, I know there have been matches where there have been a lot of botches. Don't think we're going to see that here because these two can wrestle each other in their sleep. They've been wrestling each other since Riho was 9. And that's 14 years from the statistic I think JR was saying. So imagine 14 years of wrestling each other, right? 14 years of wrestling each other. I think this is going to be a lot better than a lot of us, even on this podcast, are expecting. But ultimately, yes, Riho is going to win. There's no reason why Emi Sakura should walk away with the title here.
I really hope not. But I think I do agree. I do agree with you with the whole showcases is more to get more people bought into Riho more than they already are because right now after seeing this past episode, damn, she's getting very over. So we'll move on here, and what do I got next here? I have this is a really good match. I'm excited for this match. We have Santina and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks in a grudge tag team match here. We've seen obviously with the build up to this match recently. And then it getting more intense after what Santino Ortiz did to the Rock and Roll Express last week on Dynamite. And my God, these guys, being the age that they are at, still taking bumps like that is insane. So good for them. But the challenge was issued by Santino and Ortiz from Jericho, or basically it was, I think it was that on behalf of Jericho, if I'm not mistaken, in that promo that he was that they were challenging the Young Bucks.
Yes.
And then the Young Bucks, after their match last week, accepting the challenge. So I'm excited for this match. You're looking at this match, feud put aside, we know that there's a lot of bad blood here. This tag team match is going to be insane. Young Bucks being the most innovative and one of the greatest tag teams in the world against Santino and Ortiz. And for the people that know Santino and Ortiz and where they've come from, especially Tiff from House of Glory and what they're all about and how good they are, we're getting a clash of two really good, innovative, and insane tag teams here, and we're sure to have a barn burner for sure. We're gonna have probably one of the matches of the night being this match in particular, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. So I don't know if anyone else has anything to add.
Did you pick a winner on that one?
No, I was gonna let you guys chime in on what you guys thought about the match, but I'll pick a winner.
No, I think you covered it. I don't really have a lot to say about this match for the simple reason that we just know it's going to be very, very good. So it's almost like I don't have anything negative to say. I don't want to say I'm not invested in the feud, but it's just going to be such a good match that it's going to overshadow whatever feud even is necessary for this match. Right. So I'm just excited for it.
So I'm going to pick the Young Bucks in this match. We haven't seen an L from the Young Bucks really in a simple tag team match lately. Like
Private Party.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but to me that was. I can't see the Young Bucks doing the same to Santino Ortiz and putting them over. I know it could help with the whole inner circle thing.
You're putting freaking Ortiz and Santana over. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
That's where I'm at too.
That's crazy. That'd be putting two former House of Glory tag teams over in a row.
This is what I'm saying.
You know what? I do like that pick and I understand that pick, but I'm gonna go with my gut. My gut's telling me Young Bucks. I'm sticking with Young Bucks. So
they have to put over the new talent, and maybe a lot of people do not know who LAX. I'm going to say LAX, but Proud and Powerful. A lot of people are not going to know who they are, but they're badass. And, I mean, they only wrestled. They got the win against John Silver and Alex Reynolds, right? So, okay, yeah, Indie
Big
Queen. Big win. So they need another win. So I think Young Bucks are the perfect team to put them over.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think Santana Ortiz take this, but I think what we're also not thinking about is the consequences of where this may lay in terms of the card. This might be the match that goes on right before the main event. So for the Inner Circle to win that match, it would just give a lot more hype to Chris Jericho possibly beating Cody Rhodes. So if you can basically say, the Inner Circle's on a roll here.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho celebrating with them, and you can lead into that. So I think that all signs point to Proud and Powerful winning this one.
Yep.
Okay, so we had two Proud and one Buck. All right. So nah. Buck you.
Well, fuck you too. Anyway.
So move on to the triple threat tag team match for the AEW World Championships. World Tag Team Championships. Lucha Brothers, SCU, and
hold on.
Private Party. It's okay. It's all good. I know she's off screen here, but I still have the graphic up so people can't see. Oh, wait. Okay, she got a Private Party beat on. She put it back. I'll put us back on camera here. There we go.
I got my beads from Isaiah. It's on Shrine. Okay, so I needed.
This could be good luck here. So we have three insane tag teams going at it here for the WWE. Oh my God, AEW World Tag Team Championships. It's a long night, guys.
Blasphemy.
This is insane. So we had SCU and Lucha Brothers face each other in the finals of that World Tag Team tournament. Obviously, due to time constraints, they couldn't have the match that we were expecting and the match that they could have had. Obviously, I think everyone pointed towards, rematch at Full Gear, but they've added it with a twist. Before tonight's episode of Dynamite, we had Private Party face off against Dark Order. Winner would come and be joined to this match and be a triple threat tag team match. So, obviously, we had the outcome with Private Party now, and we have Private Party, SCU, and Lucha Brothers. This is another tag team match just sure to tear the house down. Obviously, with the Lucha Brothers, we know how good they are. SCU, with Kazarian being at his age and still pulling off what he can, is just incredible. And Scorpio Sky, even he's incredible as well. And in Private Party, we already talked about how good they are. So this is going to be a very, very good tag team match. And I don't know if SCU is going to be. I smell a new tag team champion. I think it's going to be either Lucha Brothers or Private Party. It's for sure going to be one of those two. I think SCU was just a placeholder because of the time constraint thing they had last week. I can't see them coming out on top here. It's going to be very, very tough, though. There's going to be a lot of false finishes in this match. This is going to be one of those matches where there's going to be almost too many false finishes to count. And, God, you know what? I think just because of how they've been boosting up new teams and Lucha Brothers are not fully with AEW just yet full time, I'm going to give the edge to Private Party, our boys, to be the new world tag team champions in AEW. I got a feeling here with the momentum these guys are riding, and they want to start building this team. It looks like they have a lot of faith in them. I'm riding with Private Party here, and I think until Lucha Brothers are here full time, I don't think we're going to see them with the titles just yet. So.
Private Party, oh,
I'm already gonna write down Tiff's answer here because I know she's gonna pick.
Wait. What's her answer? I can't tell.
She's picking the Dark Order's creepers to interfere and win the tag team titles here.
God, yes.
Really awesome team from New York that I've seen in House of Glory. My boys. Private Party.
Shocker.
And listen, I tweeted Quinn earlier, and I was like, I'm going to be the first one to buy you a round of drinks. So some little like gin and juice, some cranberry vodka. Let's go. But can you imagine? Somebody tweeted at me earlier and was like, can you imagine if this was like a ladder match?
Oh, man.
Oh.
I think we would have already found out by now.
Oh, I know, but it's just the thought of it. I was like, damn, I didn't have a heart attack.
Shocked they didn't do that.
Kyle, I'm bringing you some earplugs because
please do.
Screaming my brains out for this
I'll
match.
be going for Private Party too. I've grown on them, so.
But you know me.
I think the answer we need to know though is Kenny's pick in this match. So Kenny, what do you got, man? I know this is probably a tough one.
This is a tough one because yeah, the Street Profits are doing pretty well in this match. SCU. There's a part of me that wants to say they're gonna retain, and I'm gonna kick myself because that's my gut instinct is to say they're gonna retain after all is said and done, just because they're such a good team to open the show. I really think that they're going to open the show with this match because you throw SCU out in the beginning and the tone is set for the rest of the show, which is why I kind of think they're gonna retain. However,
oh my God, I'm stopping right there. I can already tell what's gonna happen. They're going to open the show, and it's going to be Christopher Daniels' return, and that's what's going to freaking set the crowd going nuts.
Right. Like, something like that would definitely do. But, like, because of their booking, like, I can't deny that Private Party doesn't have a very good chance of winning the titles here. And I'm going to kick myself because, I want to say SCU is going to retain, but I'm going to go with Private Party on this one just because, again, they've just been booking them so strong since the onset of AEW Dynamite that is hard to ignore. So, yeah.
I love that.
We'll see. I think they have a lot of faith in these two, man. I think that's why they made a huge point when the Bucks went to House of Glory for their last indie performance, and it was with Private Party, and they did the whole footage after. It really shows that they have a lot of faith in this team. So, and again, I would so go with Lucha Brothers in this match if they are fully with AEW, but they're not here full time just yet. So until they're here full time, then I'll give them some credit and I'll start picking them in picks. So
right, and again, they still have the AAA tag teams and the championship, and then they still have the House of Glory.
Lucha Brothers are champions in 2 other promotions right now, so that's why I really can't pick AEW. I mean, they could. Ultimately they could swerve us all and make them win it, and then they could literally do those photo poses with them holding like their tag titles in each brand that they are, and literally they keep telling themselves that keep telling people that they're the best tag team in the whole world. This could prove it. I mean, winning the AEW World Tag Team Championships and still being champion in 2 other promotions can prove that they are the best tag team in the world going right now. So they could serve us all right now at this Saturday and make the Lucha Brothers win. Because I honestly thought they were going to win on Dynamite last week. I thought it was going to be them.
Yeah.
I need the shirt. I need the Private Party shirt. I need it. Take my money.
This ain't water. This ain't water. So move in here to the lights out unsanctioned match between Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega. Oh boy,
I think this is gonna close out the pay-per-view.
What?
Yes, because it's unsanctioned.
There's no way. There's no way they're gonna.
No. After what we've seen this week, there's no way Jericho and Cody don't go on last. There's no way.
If Cody loses, he can't challenge for the AEW championship.
The story's bigger. The story's way bigger.
Not only that, remember they're gonna be judges. They're gonna be judges, at ringside that we're forgetting.
60-minute limit.
60-minute time limit.
I understand that, but it was funny because I even listened to Queen's podcast, and that's why I'm breaking.
There you go. You're back.
The reason why is that I'm saying that is like, even because when I listen to Queen's podcast, Queen of NA, she said the same thing too. When you think lights out, you think that it's after. It's supposed to be the ending after the show.
Which they did. They did that at which was it, Fyter Fest, when Moxley fought Janela?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But
yes.
I can't. The storyline wise, Cody and Jericho fits the bill, the main event, the main championship that Jericho likes to say.
Your main event, but since it's an unsanctioned and it's lights out, that's why I'm thinking that it's going to be after. I understand what you're saying. I totally get it, and the championship belt should be your close out of a pay-per-view, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen.
I'm just going with. Anyway,
but anyways, as for the match itself, we're bringing in two worlds here. We're bringing in Moxley's world, where he comes from, obviously back when his days of CCW and what he is today, or obviously leaving that big gap in between because he doesn't want to talk about that either. But Moxley's bringing in his world. Kenny's bringing in his world of his style of wrestling. Like even in the promo tonight, you saw a quick clip of saying like, "Well, what, John? You're gonna come in? You're gonna try to chain wrestling with me? You're not gonna be able to do that. Like, if you think you're gonna come into this ring and bring this whole like, oh yeah, I went to Japan and I learned your craft kind of thing. Like that's not gonna happen here. So we know that Moxley, in one of the reasons why he went into New Japan this past summer was to learn they're using it as a story. It's to learn the craft of the Japanese style of wrestling and what Kenny Omega's come from, and that was part of the story that was built towards All Out in their match that they're supposed to have, was that he was gonna bring that type and try to keep up with Kenny and his style of wrestling. But now that we're having an unsanctioned lights out match, oh man, this is gonna be brutal. We've seen so far how brutal these guys can get. We've seen threats with barbed wire weapons. We've seen DDTs through glass tables. We've seen Moxley throwing Kenny off a stack of chips onto a I don't know what the hell kind of table that was he landed on, but it was like half plastic and half matted. I don't know what. These two are gonna wake up the next day with massive headaches. That's all I'm gonna say. Like this is sure to be a hardcore Attitude Era type match plus. But I think we're also going to get a lot of in-ring stuff. We know that Moxley's obviously learned a lot from going from New Japan this past summer. I think we're going to see a lot of that in the ring. We're still going to get a lot of wrestling in the ring before we get to the hardcore aspect of it. I see these guys wrestling all over the building, like through the crowd. Every type of environment you can think of in that arena, I think these guys are going to utilize. In plus, maybe they're going to be some added spots somewhere. Like we know the whole added quote-unquote VIP section on the first week of Dynamite. There was that random area with the couch and the glass table. I don't know what the hell that area was.
section.
It was so weird. So
it's where Private Party hangs out.
You know what I mean? Like we're gonna get.
Dynamite.
I think we're gonna get propped areas like that as well. Mm-hmm. Man, this I'm scared for this match, man. I hope these guys come out okay, because
that's why I think it's gonna be after. And actually, Wick in the chat said the same thing. Cody and Jericho will finish out the official pay-per-view. However, Mox and Omega will be the true last match. Because with everything that's happened in the past, everything that you just talked about, I think this is just there's going to be so much shit in the ring, outside the ring. Like you need that to be your final match. Because you're going to clean all that up, and then you're going to have Cody and Jericho go at it.
I got a question.
It is Cody Rhodes too. I mean, Cody Rhodes is pretty damn humble. He won't. You saw where he was with All In, placement wise.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I have a question. We getting blade jobs?
Ooh.
Because we know that we know Khan's come out and said before, like, we're only saving, blood and quote unquote guts for special attractions and a special pay-per-view in the future. So
Yes. So yes, absolutely, because it's unsanctioned. I wouldn't expect anything less.
we're gonna see blood.
And to Tiff's point, though, I mean, I'm not ruling out this being the last match, just because that's exactly, like I said, what they did for Fyter Fest. They had the Elite face the Lucha Bros and the Laredo Kid, and then the lights went out, and they had one more match, which was Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela. So he's been in that position before. But this time the world title is at play, which is why I say, as a purist, I would kind of be mad if that match went on last, even though, yes, officially the pay-per-view has ended and here is your non-sanctioned. It's like, I'm still kind of a purist where the title goes on last, no matter what.
If they did terms of star caliber, what would you say which match has more star caliber with both wrestlers combined? Would you say it's Jericho and
Cody?
You think so?
Easily. I think so.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's Omega and Moxley, because this was something that we were supposed to get at All Out.
Because Moxley's Moxley has become more over and more of a star than he ever has in his entire career so far. Ever since, like, AEW's turned him into one of the hottest commodity ever, and every time he's on TV, he gets the same exact crowd popping. It's like he gets the reaction the reaction he got at Double or Nothing. He gets that everywhere he goes.
Right.
Like, it's insane. Like, people just when he comes through the crowd, people just lose their absolute effing mind. And a guy like Omega's gonna have the same reaction everywhere he goes too. The guy's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he's such an attraction. Now he's on TV every week. People are gonna give him that reaction. It's just, I understand the other aspect of it with Cody and Jericho. Like, Jericho's, a legend. He's one of the pioneers of this business, and Cody being obviously with the reaction we got and how much of a bigger star he is. It's really tough to compare star caliber. I do see what Tiff's saying with the whole unsanctioned thing as well, how it could go on last. I think they're gonna lean on storyline more than other aspects of these two feuds. So I'm leaning more towards Cody and Jericho going on last, because if Jericho is going to be dropped, you know what? How about this? If Cody and Jericho are on last, Cody's winning the championship.
Right. I agree with that.
If not, Jericho's retaining.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I also just don't want them to pigeonhole themselves into a position where whenever they have a non-sanctioned match, it has to go on last.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have two guys in a non-sanctioned match, the star caliber of a Moxley and an Omega, it could be very controversial, and the fans might backlash. And there might be backlash towards that.
And if you have Jericho and Cody in we'll call it the co-main event, and you have Cody win in that co-main event, you're taking the crowd out of it for Jericho and Moxley, or for Omega and Moxley. They're not going to be as into it, because they're going to be tired and pooped out from cheering and celebrating with Cody that, they're going to have nothing left for Moxley and Omega, and you can't really do that to those two. You know what I mean?
It's a tough position.
Yeah. So, and then by then you're already like 6-7 matches in deep. So, crowd's going to be tired by then. So it's really tough position of where they're going to place each of these matches. But prediction wise, we'll go with Moxley and Omega here. God, I just think because of how much of a star he is, and Kenny's had a couple of wins here, so I think he can afford to maybe take a loss. I don't know if what their direction or what creatively they want to do with Kenny after this going forward, because I think this is going to end Moxley and Omega for the time being, unless they pick it up later on. I can see Omega taking an L here, because we've seen they're not afraid to be giving Omega an L since AEW's first started. So I think just because of how big Moxley is and how much of a star he is, I think they want to keep that momentum going forward and going after this. So I'm picking Moxley to pick up a huge victory over Omega here. So Tiffany.
I knew this was. I know everybody's gonna hate me, and I don't be shocked. I'm going with Kenny Omega here because of the fact that an unsanctioned match, Mox can afford to take the loss because it's unsanctioned. And it's not
because it doesn't count towards the records. God, I totally spaced out about that. Oh my God.
Damn, me and Kyle really going against each other.
Unless they go, like, it's since it's unsanctioned, there's no winner. Like, there's something happens where there's not a winner in this match. They're both incapacitated, and the referee calls it, and there's, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a way that both competitors cannot, they cannot continue in the match, and the referee is forced to call it.
It's funny. I'm going to combine both of your points and make it my own point here. It is definitely a non-sanctioned match, which means the record does not count. I'm going with Jon Moxley winning this for the simple reason that he's got a chip on his shoulder about the records. He already feels like AEW management is out to get him. So now he's basically going to say, I beat Kenny Omega at Full Gear, but none of you want to remember that because it was a non-sanctioned match, because I'm such a lunatic that you don't want me on the record books. You don't want me to you don't want your golden boy Kenny Omega to have taken a loss from Jon Moxley, so you made sure it was a non-sanctioned match. So
point, yeah.
I think that's going to be the storyline, and then he's going to become increasingly paranoid over that no one in AEW wants him, that he's an outcast, that sort of thing. But I'm the best kept, not to steal Buddy Murphy's thing, but I'm the best kept secret in AEW, so.
I like that.
I like your point. Definitely.
Yeah.
God, I can't believe I spaced out completely over the friggin' match type. My bad. But yeah, I'm still going to stick with my pick of Jon Moxley. I think definitely agree with what Kenny just said. But man, for some reason, after what I just said, could there be a way that there's just no winner in this match? Something happens that they have to cut the pay-per-view, or they, you know what I mean?
Like the circle interfere
like
or something.
There's just something happens where, or maybe a certain villain
whoop, whoop.
makes his appearance.
That doesn't make any sense.
He attacks Kenny Omega. He's part of the Elite.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to stick with that. But I think if any person he's going to attack first is going to be Cody, because Cody's the one that started all this, and they kind of left him behind.
But see, that could be the big surprise. That, can you imagine? Like, okay, so that is your last match, and then Marty came out. Like, can you imagine the crowd going wild? And we talked about this with Brandon Cutler, with the fact of like that the pay-per-view was so good at Double or Nothing that we totally forgot about Moxley with the rumors. Like, can you imagine something like that? With,
that
like,
was
Marty?
crazy. I literally completely forgot about the whole rumors going into that. I'm like, oh, but yeah, shit, Moxley.
Yep. It's true.
But okay, two Mox.
Chat like Hangman or Pac comes out. Like, I thought that this, between the four of them, it could be a four-way, like a built later, that it could be like your number one contender for whoever is next in line for the AEW championship.
Okay.
And the Inner Circle could just come out and take everybody out for no reason, because they're the fucking Inner Circle, and that's what they do.
See, this is the great thing about AEW. Like, our minds are going, and
maybe,
it's like,
hey, when you say Inner Circle, Jack Hager hasn't had a feud yet or a build towards anything. Maybe he's the only one that comes out and he starts it with someone out of this match, and they carry that on from Full Gear. You know what I mean? He builds a storyline from it. So we'll see what happens. But myself and Kenny go with Mox. Tiffany stick with Omega. We'll move in to. We'll see. I don't know if it's a main event or not. We haven't really decided that. We haven't really know.
Debatable.
But the last match, talk about Cody Jericho, AEW World Championship. Sure to be an incredible match. Obviously, with the now stipulation of if Cody does not beat Jericho, he loses the chance to ever challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. Such a big stipulation to put on the head of Cody Rhodes going into this. I don't know.
Absolutely.
What he's thinking going into this. Maybe he's just that confident. We obviously seen the cocky side of Jericho going into this and how confident he is. This is going to be a very good match. Both styles, I think, work with each other as well. You don't have a high flyer, fast moving Kenny Omega style going against Jericho. Even though that worked, we've seen the Wrestle Kingdom matches and it was really good. I think Kenny or Jericho style and Cody style work with each other in the ring. They both move at the same kind of pace. Maybe Cody's a little bit on the faster side, but obviously with these guys with their WWE backgrounds, it's just gonna work in the ring. And I think the storytelling is going to be the biggest part of this match. We know how good storytelling, especially in match-wise, create epic contests and create Meltzer 8, 9, 16, 25-star matches. So I think this is going to be one of those matches where, you know, Meltzer goes crazy on his star ratings, and it's probably going to produce one of the matches of the year. I think Jericho and Cody 1-on-1 is going to be a very, very good match, especially with the world title on the line. Inner Circle, I do highly expect maybe Hager to be in the corner of Jericho. I do expect maybe some Inner Circle interference, but I do expect Cody to have his backup ready. The big thing going into this match, I think, is MJF. I think that's the big story here, and what's going on with him. I don't know if they're going to start it here. A lot of people want MJF, and I see a lot of people calling for an MJF turn. I said it before on this podcast over the last couple of weeks. I think it's extremely too early for that. That's a feud in the works that is going to have an ultimate payoff, and to do it now is extremely early. You need to wait for that. That's got to be
your Jacksonville.
That's
your Jacksonville show.
Exactly. That's
right
your
there.
main event of the Jacksonville show, and that payoff is so good. We've seen you have to keep building the relationship with MJF and Cody. It's still fresh in the minds of newer people to AEW. People who've watched Being the Elite before and have been kept on between MJF and Cody, they know the whole story behind that, and it's, you know what I mean? I think that's why they're calling for this turn to happen so quick. But for the people that are new to AEW, that's one of their main targeted audiences, is getting new people to watch AEW. It's too early for this. It's way, way, way too early. They need to build this relationship more. We've seen teases. It's not like we haven't seen teases. We've seen the whole. There's the one thing. I think it was an All Out where he was holding the chair and he kind of looked up at Cody and looked at the chair, and he looks like that. Then he handed it to him after. You know what I mean? There's been spots where I've seen MGF do these little subtle things where I'm like, okay, he's hinting at it, and it all came down to last week. I don't know if you caught it, Kenny, but it was during the whole Dustin Rhodes attack with Hagar in the parking lot in the car, and when the Young Bucks and MJF finally came for the save, if you look closely, if you replay it back, MJF looks at the camera with a certain glare for about 3 to 4 seconds, and then he pays attention to what's going on. He gives that little glare, like almost like, you know, he set this whole thing up. He's the one that told maybe Jake Hagar where Dustin was hiding, and Sammy Guevara where, you know, Dustin was hiding the whole time. Like he's evilly plotting stuff. You have to go back and watch it.
I'll have to watch that.
It's weird because
I didn't see that.
He didn't need to do it. You know what I mean? He could have just showed up there with the Bucks and been, you know, yelling at the other two or something. But he for a good 3 to 4 seconds, he looks at the camera and he has this stare, and I'm like, okay, this is another plotted seed. This is something they're gonna do in these graphic promos that they're so good at that they're gonna go back on and be like, you know, remember the spot where he was holding the chair and then he handed it to Cody. He kind of was looking at it. Then there's a spot where he's looking into the camera when Dustin Rhodes was brutally attacked and is now out of commission. They're doing these little seed planting things, but I think it's way, 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 way too early to already turn this. So I think MJF's still going to play a factor. I think there's going to be another seed planted, though. I don't think there's going to be a big turn. There's going to be another seed planted, whether it's some sort of camera work or some sort of tease. But MJF will get involved in this match. It's going to be a really good match. I'm excited for it. If I had to pick a winner here, God, with this added stipulation tonight,
I know,
just ruined it for me. Okay, but I'm gonna go with my gut, and that's back what I was just saying 10 minutes ago, where if this match goes on last, Cody wins. If this match is second to last, Jericho wins. I'm going to go into this thinking that it's going to be the very last match of the card, and I'm thinking Cody's going to win this championship here. You know, as it goes against what I've been just saying this entire episode, I think Jericho should be holding this championship going forward. It suits him, the whole build with it, the whole Le Champion thing, and it's so good for AEW right now. My gut. I have to always go with my gut. I do this with sports betting. I'm a huge sports better guy up here. I always go with my gut, and I always have a pretty good payoff most of the time. I'm not rich, so maybe it doesn't work all the time. But I'm gonna stick with Cody. I think I'm gonna stick with Cody. I'm just gonna think that this match is gonna go on last. So I'll see. We'll see. You never know. You never know with these picks, Tiff.
I know.
But I'm curious to see what you pick. So
that's funny because originally before this episode, I was going with Jericho. But even the factors of like Wrestle Kingdom and things, and you were saying earlier, it's making me, I don't know. This is a hard pick. I mean, especially with like you said, the stipulation tonight kind of like threw me even more because going forward, so he's not going to go for the belt. So AEW could be around going on forever for all we know. So however long he decides to wrestle, he's not going to go for the belt ever again. It's kind of weird. So it kind of makes me think that I have to go with Cody, even though I was really going for Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been doing some self-discovery while you two were talking. And
so Tiff,
really
you're going with Cody, right? Let me just make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what's going. Here's what's gonna happen.
Oh boy.
I want to remind you all of a storyline from 1991. Macho Man Randy Savage lost a retirement match to the Ultimate Warrior, and he had to do commentary, and he was a damn good commentator at that. Jake the Snake Roberts ruined his wedding at SummerSlam 1991 with Miss Elizabeth, and then basically coerced him to go back into the ring, had a snake bite him, and then Macho Man said, "No, get me back in the ring. I need to be back in the ring," and they found a way to do it. My gut tells me Jericho's going to win this match.
Oh.
So I have to go against you all. And I think we're going to see Cody Rhodes away from the title for about a year until someone like an MJF wins the title. And then Cody says, I have to challenge for that title because I have to get back at that bastard for betraying me.
Yeah.
So man, I'm going to kick myself if I'm wrong on this one, but it's like something tells me Jericho's winning that title, or retaining, I should say, the title.
That's what I mean.
Cody Rhodes stays out of the picture for a while.
He's so good with it right now. He's the best. Like he's literally the GOAT. And it worked. The title works with him right now, and it's amazing. And it works with building up the inner circle as well. You have your top stable guy in the stable to be the champion. So
right, and I feel like all of that goes away if you just give Cody Rhodes the title, because they're literally building a bunch of stars that are with Jericho. So it's like my heart of hearts tells me that Jericho is going to win, but it's such a hard pick to make.
Yeah, I like that theory though a lot.
I appreciate it. You're so right, Tiff.
You're so right, Tiff, man.
Damn it, Tiff. You're so right.
Damn it.
So go over the picks here. So what I have from the start to finish, I have Britt Baker, Shawn Spears, Pac, Rihu, Young Bucks, Private Party, John Moxley, and Cody. Tiff has Bia, Janela, Paige, Rihu. What?
B. It's not Bia. It's B.
Whatever. I say Bia. It's okay. Leave me alone. Anyways, Proud and Powerful.
That's how they pronounce it in Niagara Falls, Canada.
Yeah, you're going with two PPs here. You're going with Private Party and Proud and Powerful.
Yes.
And Omega and Cody. Kenny's got B, Spears, Paige, Rihu, PP1 and PP2, and John Moxley and Chris Jericho. So those are our picks. I will post them on Twitter tomorrow for everyone to see and to see how we do after the weekend. But other than that, we are about 2 hours and 17 minutes into this podcast. I think that's about a wrap here. People out
We're
there
doing an all-day podcast, everybody.
No, I've done too many of those. I think we're gonna have to wrap it up here, and I think people out there are probably tired of listening to us. I'll probably have to timestamp the video. That's okay. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna have to thank Kenny here for coming onto the podcast. Kenny, for your thoughts podcast. Guys, go follow him on Twitter at Kenny Podcast. Check him out on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. I'll put the links down in the YouTube description below. I'll probably do that tomorrow, as tonight after this podcast. I'm probably going to hit the hay right away because I got a big, long day of preparing tomorrow for Full Gear. Myself and Tiffany are going to be in Baltimore for Full Gear. So if you guys are going, look out for me and Tiff. Come by, say hi. We're going to be at StarCast all of Friday. And obviously at Full Gear Saturday, going to the Full Gear after party. We bought our VIP tickets because we are VIP here at the All Elite Podcast, and we'll see how that goes. Anywho, Rihu, again, thank you, Kenny. You're welcome to come back on the podcast anytime, and I'm sure we are also welcome on your podcast to
absolutely
have a great time with Brandon and
The Street Profits, right?
Yeah.
And the Street Profits.
And the Street Profits. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning into this episode 53 of the All Elite Podcast, your source for all AEW content and more. Also on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for podcast content and more. I'm your host, as always, of the All Elite Podcast, your self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, always joined by my co-host. She's the Executive Vice President of Giggles, the Heartbreak Chick, the Indie Queen herself, Tiffany, and again, joined by our special host today, Kenny from Kenny from your podcast, Kenny from your thoughts podcast. See, I was getting it wrong on Twitter for the last couple of days. I finally got it right this episode. That was done on purpose. I know what his podcast name is. People, don't give me shit. But anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up.
I don't even know what the name is. It's okay.
Yeah, it's Kenny something. But
that guy.
We're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Have a good time on Saturday if you're watching from wherever you're watching. If you're there at Full Gear, have fun, and we will see you guys next week for the official review of Full Gear. See you later.